This is a special place. It's a field of dirt and grass that tests your strength and your heart and your toughness. It's a place you can try to leave, but it'll never leave you. Tonight, you're about to see not one, but two old-school coaching legends back where they belong. I'm talking about Bill Parcells and Joe Gibbs, tough leaders of men, authority figures who could get 45 other souls to bend to their will. For years, they engaged in epic head-to-head battles. Both have been to the mountaintop time and time again, and then at a time and place of their own choosing, they walked away. But despite their intentions and convictions, they couldn't resist the dirt and grass, the lure of competition, the feel of a 2-minute drill, the taste of a Gatorade bath, and that smell, the smell of victory. Get used to it. Incredibly, Parcells and Gibbs are back, ready to lead, ready to fight, ready to make more history, and without a doubt, ready for some football. Are you?
Driving their team, it's Cowboys and Skins, yo, Monday Night Dream. Players and fans, come on, everybody say, Monday night rocks the old US of A. Hit it! Come on and hit it! Come on and get ready! Are you ready for some football? A Monday night tradition! The NFL's Big Show, 35th edition! Ready. The whole country's psyched. All my ready friends are here for Monday night.
FedEx Field, Landover, Maryland, just outside the District of Columbia. On this last Monday night of September. Dry right now. We might have rain before this one is done, but it won't deter any of the 91,000 fans from gathering at FedEx Field and greeting their Washington Redskins as they come out onto the field for the third game of the 2004 season. It's Bill Parcells on one sideline and Joe Gibbs on the other. Al Michaels, John Madden, Michelle Tafoya, welcome to our nation's capital and welcome to the sequel of Back to the Future. Parcells and Gibbs again for the first time in 14 years. Each team comes in 1-1. Gibbs was brought in to resurrect the glory days in Washington after a 12-year absence. They began on opening day by beating Tampa, and this city was just ecstatic. They were euphoric. And then last week, they went to the Meadowlands, turned the ball over 7 times, and lost to the Giants. Meanwhile, Dallas on opening day gave up 5 touchdown passes to Dante Culpepper, and the Vikings beat them. Last week, they turned it around. The game was ugly, but they beat Cleveland, so each team comes in with a record of 1-1. And by the way, Dallas has owned Washington. They've won 12 of the last 13. John, this game is close. It's a mild situation for Washington as the favorite, mainly because of home field. But in your mind, which is the better team right now?
I think right now, as we're talking about the third week of the regular season, the Dallas Cowboys are the better team. And you have to remember we have 2 great coaches here, but Bill Parcells is in his 2nd year. Joe Gibbs is only in his 3rd game. I think Bill Parcells inherited a better team. And you have to remember, they won 10 games last year. Now, having said that, I think the best player in the game is on the Redskins, and that's Clinton Portis. They have the best running game. I think the Cowboys are probably better in all other areas.
Nostalgia aside, the 2 coaches haven't faced each other across the chessboard for 14 seasons. Any significance tonight?
I think a lot of significance. I mean, that's something that drives you crazy because we said that these are 2 great coaches, but they also have great memories. And what happens is you look back and you think, I remember in 1987, I ran that play against them. They intercepted and we lost. I remember in 1989, I ran a play. We ran a defense. They scored a touchdown. So I think it makes you pretty conservative. You know, you tend to think, geez, I remember back and it didn't work then. It's not going to work. Or something that did work, you said, I remember I got him on that again in '88, and he's not going to go for it again. So knowing both these guys, they're going to fight against being conservative tonight.
Wheels returning for the next 3 hours. This should be a beauty. A much anticipated matchup. Keyshawn Johnson and the Dallas Cowboys in town to face the Washington Redskins on Monday Night Football. Here are tonight's FedEx air and ground stats. Despite a hamstring pull last week, Mark Brunell gets the start for Washington, while 40-year-old Vinny Testaverde has passed for over 300 yards in each of the Cowboys' 2 games. On the ground, Clinton Portis leads the Redskin attack, while Eddie George is Dallas's leading rusher. Excitement abounds. Drama ready to unfold. Nostalgia in the air. And we check in down on the sidelines with Michelle Tafoya. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Al. Well, you said it. Meetings between these 2 coaches, Bill Parcells and Joe Gibbs, used to be a regular thing. From 1983 to 1990, when Joe Gibbs was in his first stint with the Redskins and Parcells was with the Giants, they met 16 times in the regular season, once in the postseason. Parcells owns an 11-6 advantage in those, including a win in the 1986 NFC Championship game and wins in the last 6 straight. But the 2 haven't met since October 28, 1990. It's been a while. To put it in perspective, back then, Johnny Carson was still the king of late-night TV. Tiger Woods was a 14-year-old golf prodigy. Bill Clinton was a little-known governor in the state of Arkansas. Brett Favre's consecutive game starting streak hadn't begun. He was a senior at Southern Mississippi University. Michael Jordan hadn't won an NBA Finals. In fact, he hadn't even played in one yet. Barry Bonds' home run total was at 117. George Bush was playing hardball as the owner of the Texas Rangers, and the world had just come online as internet dial-up access had allowed the general public to get online. Now, as for tonight, Gibbs told me with a Bill Parcells coach team, nothing comes easy, and anything the Redskins get tonight will be hard-earned. And Parcells told me, well, he and Joe Gibbs are almost mirror images of one another. They've coached sound football, but they will take their chances. Either way, he expects a physical game from the Gibbs coach team, Al.
Thank you, Michelle. One coach already in the Hall of Fame. That's Joe Gibbs, because he retired in '92, and then he went in a couple of years later. Bill Parcells hasn't been out long enough to be seriously considered, but there's little doubt, John, that he will have his bust in can someday.
Right. In fact, I think they started to consider him at one time, and then he went back and took another job.
So they said, you know, we're going to wait until he really retires, which will be who knows when.
And then he really will be.
Billy Cundiff to kick off. Chad Morton is back deep. And Morton, the former Jet who played for Parcells in New York, brings it back up to the 16-yard line. And we'll take a look right now. Here is the Washington offense.
Mark Brunell, Washington.
Clinton Portis, University of Miami.
Chris Cooley, Utah State.
Rod Gardner, Clemson Tigers.
Ronnie Coles, Reebok Senior High School.
Walter Rasby, Wake Forest.
Chris Samuels, University of Alabama.
Derek Dockery, University of Texas.
Corey Raymer, Wisconsin.
Brandon Thomas, Mississippi State. Leonard Ray Brown Jr., Arkansas State.
Brown, at the age of 41, they lost their outstanding right tackle, John Jansen, in the Hall of Fame game, the first preseason game in Canton. And it's Brown at 41, older than Vinny Testaverde, who fills that spot. And the handoff on first down goes to Clinton Portis, who came over from Denver in that trade for Champ Bailey, gains 5. And let's take a look at the Cowboy defense.
Greg Ellis, UNC.
Leo Carson, Auburn. Roy Glover, San Diego State.
That dude, Columbia. Hal Singleton, Temple University.
Dad Wynn, Texas A&M.
Dexter Coakley, Appalachian State.
Terrence Newman, Kansas State.
Tony Dixon, Alabama.
Roy Williams, University of Oklahoma.
Pete Hunter, Virginia Union University.
All right, so we had a Dat Dude, Wiley, and Dat Wynn, which is his real name. Here is Portis up to the 25-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 2. It was the biggest trade of the offseason, and the way free agency works these days, of course, there aren't that many big trades anymore in the National Football League. But when Portis came here and Champ Bailey went to Denver, that was a big trade.
Well, and because, you know, Joe Gibbs needs a runner, because he's a running coach, and he goes out and gets one of the best in Clinton Portis, who can run all types of runs. And I'll tell you this, he's a very tough guy and a very good blocker.
And Brunell, coming off that hamstring pull last week, has the first pass intended for Thrash knocked away by Jock Reeves. Earlier in the week, it looked like Brunell couldn't start. About Wednesday and certainly into Thursday, Brunell, with that hamstring pull, was not taking that many snaps. Patrick Ramsey was, but Brunell is in the game and 3 and out here.
Right, we were at practice on Saturday, and that was really the first time that Mark Brunell practiced. After that practice, Joe Gibbs said he will start tonight.
Now Tom Tupa, who's having a good year, flag thrown with the ball in the air. And from the 23-yard line, this is Dedrick Ward, another former New York Jet, who is taken down. And we'll get the first call of the night. Jerry Austin is tonight's referee. The Redskins had scored touchdowns on each of their opening drives in the 2 games. We have ineligible man downfield for the Redskins.
And Joe Gibbs was telling us yesterday how, penalties and those types of things that just kill him.
Ineligible receiver, number 45 of the kicking team, downfield, 5 yards, replay 4th down.
Now, he said we played hard. He said we just didn't play smart. And he was talking about penalties, 7 turnovers, those types of things.
Mike Sellers was the man downfield. That's the defensive coordinator. Greg Williams, last year the head coach with the Buffalo Bills, in conference with Gibbs. Williams' defense has done a great job. Last week, Gibbs described the performance in New York, forget about the 7 turnovers, as a wasted opportunity because the defense played so well.
Yeah, and they played well in the first game, too. Heavy blitzing. In their first game, they blitzed 70% of the time. Last week, they blitzed 58% of the time. Bill Parcells said last night he expects them to blitz over half the plays tonight.
Tupa's kick, another beauty, right to the sideline at the 25-yard line. And Dedrick Ward gets knocked down up at about the 37. Here come the Cowboys, and let's take a look at their starting offense.
Vinny Testaverde, University of Miami.
Eddie George, The Ohio State University.
Darian Barnes, Hampton University.
Keyshawn Johnson, University of Southern California.
Terry Glenn, The Ohio State University.
Dan Campbell, Texas A&M. Flozo Adams, Michigan State.
Larry Allen, Sonoma State.
Al Johnson, Wisconsin.
Matt Laird, Virginia Tech.
Torrin Tucker, Southern Miss.
And the Cowboys open up with an empty backfield. So they spread it out on first down, and Testaverde to go to the air, and the pass is incomplete. Pass over the middle intended for Antonio Bryant. Here is the Washington defense.
Ronaldo Wynn, Notre Dame.
Joe Salavio, Arizona.
Phineas Griffin, Alabama.
Ron Warner, Kansas.
Marcus Washington, Auburn.
Antonio Pierce, Arizona. Lamar Marshall, Michigan State.
Sean Springs, Springbrook High School.
Matt Bowen, Iowa.
Sean Taylor, University of Miami.
Fred Smoot, Mississippi State.
And they came up to the line without a huddle as Antonio Bryant makes the catch. And John, you know as well as anybody, Bill Parcells, when he opens a game, loves to throw you a curveball.
Right, and that's what he talked about last night. He said he hadn't decided how he was going to open. He said, but you'll see it, and this is what it is. He's opening with no huddle.
3rd down and 4, and opening throwing, and Testaverde gets sacked. And sometimes when Parcells opens a game like that, what he really wants to do is run the ball. He opens up passing, he opens up no huddle, and he opens up 3 and out.
Right, he makes you think he's going to do one thing, and then he goes to another. Here's Torrin Tucker, the right tackle. You see him right here, and Wynn just gets right by him. That's just the speed rush. Ronaldo Wynn just gets on that outside shoulder and right around the corner and into Vinny Testaverde.
Matt McBriar, who grew up in Australia and played his college football at the University of Hawaii, with a low liner and a good one because it pins Morton in the corner at the 9-yard line, and the coverage is good, but there's a flag thrown after he came up with the football. Jock Reeves again with a special teams tackle, and Jerry Austin will have the call a couple of minutes into the game.
And you were right about the good thing about that kick is he pinned him. We're seeing more and more directional punting now, and when you directional punt, you punt between the numbers and the sideline. and that was a perfect location.
Illegal block from behind, number 23 of the receiving team. Half of this is to the goal. First down.
Adi Jamo in Washington will begin this drive from deep in its own territory. 12:16 left in the first quarter. ABC's Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Bud Light. Fresh, smooth, real, it's all here. GMC, we are professional grade. And the personal financial advisors of American Express. The Capitol building, reflecting pool on this Monday night. Dry right now, but the remnants of Hurricane Jean, now Tropical Storm Jean, might make their way into this area before the end of the game. We're expecting heavy rain after midnight. From the 6-yard line, second drive for the Redskins begins here. Mark Brunell, who've been with the Jacksonville Jaguars since they were formed as an expansion team in '95, hands the ball off to Clinton Portis, and it was Brunell in the Meadowlands last week, John, who came up gimpy, had to come out of the game. Ramsey finished, and it wasn't announced until Saturday he'd start tonight.
Yeah, and watching that game last week, he wasn't playing that well before he got injured and came out, and they were worried about, you know, whether Ramsey would start or Brunell would start. Brunell has to play a lot better than he did the first 2 weeks.
2nd and 9 from the 7-yard line. Patrick Ramsey, the backup. They also have Tim Hasselbeck. And this is Portis. Portis exploded on his first run as a Redskin on opening day for 64 yards. But since then, he's been averaging just a little over 3 yards a carry, and now he busts this one for 13.
Yeah, it's interesting what they're doing here is they're going 3 wide receivers so they can spread the Cowboy defense out. And then instead of passing the ball, getting in a passing formation, spreading the defense out, get the linebackers to the outside, and then Clinton Portis quickly hits those inside holes.
First down of the game, ball to the 20-yard line. 4 minutes in. Buys time with the fake. Good play action. Deep throw into double coverage, and it's swatted, and it is intercepted. It is ruled as an interception by Pete Hunter off the deflection. And Hunter is now being ruled down at the 31-yard line. He got up. One official did not blow his whistle, but the other came in from behind and said, yes, he was down by contact. So there's Newman deflecting it off his shoulder pad. Hunter gets it, and the tip of the ball, woohoo, hits the ground, so this can be reviewed.
And I think this has to be reviewed. This is not an interception.
It won't be. For the moment it is, but the crowd just saw what you saw. That's why they're happy. There'll be a challenge. Jerry Austin is still taking a look at the tape, but it's pretty clear that it will not be an interception. Pete Hunter with the deflection from Terrence Newman. You'll see it again, and it's very clear that the point of the football is going to hit the ground.
Right there.
And then he still doesn't have control of it.
No, it bounced back into his hands. It's interesting here, Al, the Dallas Cowboys are up on this end of the field huddled up, and the Redskins are on the other end of the field huddled up.
Yeah, well,
both offenses.
As the interceptor gets the ball and comes to the ground and hits the ground with a ball that comes loose. The pass is incomplete. Washington is not charged with a timeout. 2nd and 10.
For Joe Gibbs, that's something new, because when Joe was in the league, they had replay, the original replay rule, which came in 86. But that was all initiated upstairs. The coach had no challenge, so that is officially Joe Gibbs' first challenge.
Right, and Joe hired a special guy to be in charge of his officiating, and that guy sits up in the booth and he watches for replay. And what he tells Joe is, no, don't challenge it, or that is questionable and worth a challenge.
And worth mentioning, too, is a new addendum, and there is Jack Burns. Larry Hill is behind him. It used to be where you only had 2 challenges, but if you win both, you get a third. So Joe still has at least 1 remaining, and maybe 2 if he won the next. Here is Portis picking up a couple. He gets up to the 22-yard line. Hit hard there by the safety, Roy Williams, coming up from the secondary.
You know, it's interesting how the Redskins are starting this game. You know, a Joe Gibbs team always has 2 and sometimes 3 tight ends. Everyone's in there tight, the power running. And he's doing just the opposite so far. He's trying to spread them out, get the Cowboy defense spread out so that Portis has more inside holes to hit.
And Parcells opened up the way he won't play the rest of the game in all likelihood. So each coach, in effect, trying to juke the other early on. 3rd down and 7. And that pass is caught for a first down. That's Rod Gardner, who picks up the first down. He's covered by the cornerback, Jacques Reeves. And the Washington Redskins trying to take advantage of winning that challenge. And they're out to the 34-yard line.
Right, Mark Brunell does a good job. Here, see, it's a sprint out left. He gets out here, gets out to his side where he can throw to Gardner on the left side. And the other thing it does, he gets behind his best pass protectors that are also on his left side. So he has everything left-handed going for him.
1st and 10 from the 34-yard line with 9.5 minutes left in the opening quarter. And Portis slanting to his left. Up past the 40-yard line. Dat Wynn makes the tackle. It's a gain of 7 yards.
You know, Clinton Portis not only has the quickness to hit a hole and the moves when he gets in the hole, but he has great speed. So if he ever gets to that 2nd or 3rd level on any run, he can take it all the way.
The Portis thing was really a money play. He wanted more than Denver was willing to offer. Champ Bailey wanted more than Washington was willing to offer. And that provided the impetus for the swap. 2nd down and 2. Portis again. Gain of 1. 3rd and short. Here's Michelle.
Well, Clinton Portis redefines confidence, if you will, Al. I mean, this guy was confident enough after his rookie season to tell Mike Shanahan, hey, if you don't make me the highest paid running back in the NFL, you won't see me again. He was gutsy enough to force a trade that made him the highest paid running back in the NFL. Heck, he was confident enough to take his mom to the prom his senior year in high school. And then when he finally got to DCL, he was confident enough to make T-shirts that said, run, Clinton, run 8 more years.
Now that is confidence. When you take mama to the prom.
He said he liked his mother better than any girlfriend.
3rd and 2. Brunell throws. It's juggled. It is caught. And it is caught inbounds by Lavernius Coles. Coles, who came over to the Redskins last year, had been with the Jets. Parcells knows him well, looking across the field. And take another look here.
And it looks like Pete Hunter, the right corner out there, hurt his knee on this play. You see, anytime you're going to flush Mark Brunell out, he's going to try to go to his left because he does this so well. It looks like Coles, while he was juggling the ball, kept both feet inbounds. Watch this. He has to have control of the ball when he goes out of bounds. You see Pete Hunter go down there, hurt his knee. And watch here, he has the ball, no control. Now he has control, but both feet were in bounds.
Lavernius Coles, I said Parcells knows him well. Bill didn't coach him, and Hunter is hurt as they work on Hunter. But Bill, after he left the Jets as the coach in '99, was in effect the GM, so he was involved in drafting him. Injury timeout, Hunter. Pete Hunter comes off, the right cornerback, and that means the Cowboys now have to go to a rookie at that spot, and Jacques Reeves from Purdue, who's already made a couple of special teams tackles.
And Jacques Reeves has been playing quite a bit because he's their nickel back, and it seems like the way defenses are now that the nickel back plays almost half the time. So he is a rookie, but he's not a rookie that hasn't played quite a bit.
Light rain, and Dallas is now going to challenge that call. They had a ton of time, of course, because of the injury to Hunter. Go back and take a look. He makes the catch along the sideline. One reason they're challenging is because it's a 3rd and short play. It results in a first down, so he goes up. He appears to get both feet in. The right one was down first. The ball was marginally loose for just a moment right there. That's more than marginally, of course, at that particular point, but he grasps it there, starts to fall out of bounds, appears to have both feet in.
Yeah,
so I don't see enough to change the call on the field here.
No, I don't either. And not only those things that you said, but he also keeps control of it, which he has to all the way to the ground, even though he's out of bounds. So he does those things. He doesn't have control. He has both feet in. Now he has control, and he still has both feet in. I would say it's a legal catch.
Yeah, I would say the ruling on the field will stand, which would mean Parcells would lose a timeout. No big deal in the first half. But he would also only then have one more challenge remaining. Gibbs has already challenged and won. And as we said, you get 2 challenges for sure. And then if you win both of those, you get a third under the new addendum.
I'll tell you one thing, under the new addendum, there's a lot of standing around. These teams both ought to be fresh because we've had 2 challenges in the first 7 minutes.
And Parcells waited until after the injury timeout, after Hunter had gone to the bench to issue the challenge. So we've had a stoppage of play now, which is probably going to exceed 5 minutes.
Joe Gibbs is thinking, I don't ever remember it being like this before.
Hunter's going to hobble back to the locker room. Jerry Austin takes all of the available time to look at the replay. That's a very loose, as you know, minute and a half anyway. Jerry's going into overtime under the hood. If it's ruled a catch, it's a first down for Washington at the Dallas 48-yard line.
There's not sufficient visual evidence to say that the pass is not complete. Therefore, the ruling of the field stands. Dallas is charged with their first timeout.
By the way, the addendum to the addendum on the new rule, if you get a third challenge, to use that challenge, you still have to have a timeout remaining. That's critical. If you don't, you can't use it.
And we know Bill Parcells isn't going to be able to do it tonight anyway, so that becomes academic.
1st and 10, under 8 minutes to play in a first quarter that has started out ploddingly. Brunell under pressure, hit as he throws, and throws incomplete. One-on-one coverage that time with Lavernius Coles and Roy Williams.
You know, it's an interesting thing. I think what everyone does against the Washington Redskins now, the tight end is the blocker. So you look over here, here's their power or blocking side. This is the weak side or the side away from that. So anyone that is going to blitz blitzes from this side to make Clinton Portis stay in and block, because he's a dangerous pass receiver. If you see him up there, if you go away from their power and blitz, he will have to pass protect most of the time.
2nd down and 10. Brunell, and that's off the hands of Coles. Dallas last year made tremendous improvement defensively. Parcells came in, and they were #1 in the league. That meant they allowed the fewest yards, and of course made it into the playoffs, losing to Carolina in a wild card game. And what's happened over the first 2 weeks is pretty fascinating here, because they were torched. Mike Zimmer, the defensive coordinator, they were torched on opening day by Dante Culpepper. Minnesota winning the game, scoring 35 points, 5 touchdown passes. But last week, they held Jeff Garcia of Cleveland to a passer rating of 0.0. 3rd and 10. Brunell throws. And throws that out of bounds. Coles makes the catch, but way out of bounds. Here it is. Look at Culpepper on opening day. Culpepper 152.3, 158 and change is perfect. And then it looks like a bad cable rating there, 0.0. 29% completion percentage for Garcia and 3 picks.
Well, in that second game on 9-19, they didn't bring Dante Culpepper or Randy Moss.
Now Tupa's kick through the arms at the 16-yard line, and the ball is loose. Dedrick Ward missed it, got it, and then lost it again, and it is recovered by James Thrash. And the Redskins have it at the 16-yard line.
Again, we talk about a punt that pins you. Dedrick Ward is pinned to that side. He let the ball get too close to his shoulder pad. And you have to catch the ball out in front of you. Watch him here. He lets it get too close to the shoulder pads, and it bounces right off his shoulder pad. Then he goes to recover it, and as he's trying to get control of it, he gets whacked, and the ball goes right out from under him. You see, you can't catch the ball that close to your body.
The officials are now having a discussion in the area of all the action. It's Jerry Austin consulting with Jim Howie, the back judge.
Schriever was down on the ground in control of the football. It did not come out until there was contact. Therefore, the ball belongs to Dallas, 1st and 10.
Well, we'll see that again when we come back. It didn't look like that to me at first, but there it is. We'll review it when we come back. We're going just up the road to Baltimore next Monday night. Ravens coming off a win yesterday. Jamal Lewis had a tremendous day. You'll see Ray Lewis, maybe Dion. He could play next week. We'll wait and see. Against Priest Holmes and the Kansas City Chiefs, who need a victory desperately on Monday night. Now, when we take a look at this last play, what happens here, and it's the officials who had to discuss it because this is not a reviewable play. Recovery of a loose ball is not reviewable. As you can see, Ward muffs it, pounces on it, and then they say he's down by contact because they felt he had possession on the ground, and then he's contacted. So they ruled that was the end of the play. It is not a reviewable play. That was all up to the officials. Here's Testaverde slinging it up to the 39-yard line, and it's caught there by Glenn for a first down. Then the ball comes loose, but after the whistle had sounded. Vinny Testaverde, who'll be 41 years old on November 13th.
You know, and when Bill Parcells signed Vinny Testaverde, he said, I will do this. I will have you protected. All you have to do is get in shape, keep your body in shape, play. I will get you protected. And he did exactly that on that play. Dallas is yet to run the ball.
26-yard reception. Eddie George is their big back, but he hasn't even been in here. And the pass incomplete. And by the way, for the record, Eddie George is in his 9th season in the league. They picked him up from Tennessee. He had not missed a start since coming out of Ohio State and winning the Heisman until tonight. And the only reason he missed starting tonight's game was because they opened up with 5 receivers spreading out across the line of scrimmage. And so that ends Eddie George's 8-year and 2-game-long streak.
And that was the thing that Bill Parcells was talking about last night. He wasn't sure how he was going to open up, but he wanted it to be different. And the different was spread them out, no huddle.
2nd and 10, and they give it to Anderson. Another guy Parcells knows very well from his days with the Jets and the multi-purpose back. Anderson runs, catches passes, blocks, picks up 13.
You know, you're a coach like Bill Parcells. You're any kind of coach. I mean, Richie Anderson is a very valuable guy. You know, it's a guy that wherever you go, you want him with you. Because you say he can do anything. If you need a fullback, he can play fullback. He can block. He can catch. You need a tailback, he can play tailback. And he is definitely a Parcells guy.
1st and 10 at the 44-yard line. And now they give it to George. And Eddie, with a flag thrown, for the moment looked like he was back in Nashville. Showing a little bit of burst there. Darian Barnes through the block, but it's just coming back because of a holding call.
I think when Bill Parcells got Eddie George, that he didn't think that he was going to run for him a lot in the 1st and 2nd quarter. I think that he's the type of guy that is a power runner. And if you can get into the 3rd and 4th quarter when the defense is a little slower and they're not really penetrating, getting in there, then he could be a lot more effective.
They lost Julius Jones last week. He was their top draft choice out of Notre Dame. They were going to work him into the lineup gradually, seeing more and more action. But a broken shoulder blade, he'd be gone for at least several weeks and conceivably the season if they need to open up a roster spot. 1st and 20. That's caught by Darian Barnes, and Barnes breaks the tackle and takes the ball to the 41-yard line, so they get a good part of the yardage back. It'll be spotted at the 41-yard line, and 2nd down and 7 upcoming.
This is when you feel that you have a blitz coming from this side. A good play is to screen to the side of the blitz. Get your guys out there in front of them. Let them blitz. Get the ball over their head right there, and then once you get by that front line, you're going to have an open area.
Under 5 minutes to play in the first period. 2nd down, 6 now from the 40-yard line. And Eddie George in that power formation runs into the former Giant Cornelius Griffin.
Well, they didn't go for that fake reverse. And one thing about Eddie George, he is a straight-up runner. You know, where Clinton Portis will get down low and you can't always see him. Eddie George runs straight up, and he, over the years, has taken some hellacious hits.
Of course, the comparison always made to Eric Dickerson with his style of running through the years. He goes to the bench on 3rd and long, 3rd and 7 right now. Then he going for 6. Contact. Flag. Walt Harris, the defensive back, and Terry Glenn trying to maneuver into a position to make the catch.
And the Redskins were in their dime defense, or 6 defensive backs. Vinny Testaverde pumped 2 times, and after you pump 2, you better get rid of the ball because the pressure was right on him when he let that one go.
Pass interference, number 27 of the defense in the end zone. 1st and goal, number 1.
Walt Harris, here it is again as Glenn works to the outside.
Now you see what he did. He started in like he was going to run a slant move, and then he goes back to the outside. It looked like Terry Glenn right there interfered first.
Absolutely.
And then Harris at the end may interfere.
And that's why there was the discussion. Glenn got his hand on his shoulder at first. There he is pushing him. And it's the defender who gets called for pass interference.
It always is. It's always a defender.
Ooh.
I mean, this is an offensive game, and that is wrong.
40-yard penalty on 3rd and 7. They give it to Eddie George. And George gets in. Broke the plane. Touchdown. So it starts with Dallas at first appearing to lose a muffed punt, winding up retaining possession, converting a 3rd and 7 because of what appears to us to be a fairly bogus pass interference call, and winds up with an Eddie George touchdown.
And that's where you're going to run. When you get down to the goal line, if you're the Dallas Cowboys, you want to get in behind Larry Allen and Flozell Adams. But you're right. I mean, the play that got him down there was that bogus pass interference.
Yeah.
That was a bad call.
And you're right. There is no such thing as fairly bogus. It's either bogus or genuine. Whistle before the extra point here with Billy Cundiff just making it.
Of the kicking team, 5 yards, retry.
Movement along the line, so Cundiff will try it again.
Here we talk about this much. Flozell Adams blocks down Larry Allen, number 73, comes and kicks out. And when he comes and kicks out, pulls or traps, you are kicked out.
Cundiff makes it. 4 minutes and a tick remaining in the opening period. Dallas on top, 7-0 Cowboys. Jefferson Memorial providing the backdrop for the promo for the ESPN Sunday night game, which is the Rams against the 49ers in San Francisco. Dan Snyder bought the Redskins a few years back. Inherited Norv Turner, a couple of years with Norv to the playoffs in '99, brought Marty Schottenheimer in 2000. Then Steve Spurrier for 2 years. And now Joe Gibbs returns to what he hopes will be a resurrection of this venerable franchise as Chad Morton brings the ball back up to the 28-yard line, and let's go to Michelle.
Well, Al, a disappointing injury update on Dallas cornerback Pete Hunter. He is done for the night. They're saying it's a sprained left knee. Let me tell you that they took him in, took some x-rays, brought Pete back out to the bench along with his x-rays. Some team doctors looked at those x-rays, and when they spoke to Pete after that, he had his head down and his hands covering his eyes, so he did not look happy, Al. Done for the night.
Done for the night, and here's a kid who really worked hard to try to win the job. And now that job for the moment belongs to Jacques Reeves, who played a lot in the nickel last week, and now he's in the base defense.
And again, with Mark Brunell being a left-handed quarterback and liking to sprint and bootleg to his left, Jacques is going to get a lot of work over here.
And right now he's one-on-one with Lavernius Coles, who's their key guy. And Brunell rolling left and throwing that way, and the pass is not caught. Reeves was covering. Coles dropped it. And Brunell, for a guy, you know, you'd think, John, he might be a little tentative in terms of rolling out because of that hamstring pull, but appears to be doing the types of things he would be doing had he not had the hamstring pull last week.
Yeah, he's going to be able to do it. You see the fake here, and he's going to bootleg out here as long as it's controlled. He knows that he's going to run to the left and throw from the left. He's not being flushed out. I think if he's going to have a problem, it's when he's flushed out. Coles has to catch that. That's ridiculous.
Second down and 10. Now Reeves goes to the other side. So they're matching him up on Coles. Man for man. Brunell pump fake. Then he throws, but the route had been broken off by Coles. He'd stopped and didn't continue on. And the crowd's getting impatient, and it's third down and 10.
You know, I think he saw the defensive back jump in front of that one, and he brought it back. You look at Coles out here. He's going to run just a quick. So he's going to stop here. And what the defense did is they jumped the route. That was Terrence Newman. He jumps up. Now, when he jumps up, he's going to be in front of Coles. So if Brunell throws it to Coles, that's going to be an interception.
Reeves was on the slot guy that time. Thrash. Now he's back on Coles on the other side. Third down and 10. Here comes the blitz. Brunell gets it away, and it is dropped by Coles again. So two drops on balls between the 8 and 0. Hit by Roy Williams, pays the price at the end, and Brunell is now 0 for his last 6, but Coles has dropped 2 of those.
Yeah, it's not Brunell's fault. I mean, he threw 2 perfect passes to Lavernius Coles. And you can't say that, you know, that he has short arms here. He doesn't. He knows when Roy Williams is in there, you're going to get hit anyway, so you might as well catch the ball.
He has shortness of breath right now, though, as he comes staggering to the sideline. Tupa's kick. Another beauty again. He just keeps pinning the run back guys, and this time it is Dedrick Ward who takes it back up to about the 31-yard line. Vinny Testaverde making his 192nd start. Won the Heisman at Miami, then went to Tampa Bay. Take a look at this. Same amount of starts that Brett Favre has made. However, whereas Favre has won 126, third most in history behind Elway and Marino, Vinny has lost 107, and only Fran Tarkenton, as a starting quarterback, has lost more games than Testaverde. Fran's in the Hall of Fame. One thing about it, though, if you get up in that category, most losses, you have to be pretty good. Otherwise, you've been out of the league years ago.
And don't you think, how can a guy that lost that many games as a quarterback look as good as Vinny Testaverde does? There's no way that he looks or acts like a 40-year-old guy.
First and 10 from the 31-yard line. Testaverde slings it, and it's tipped incomplete. You know, you think about Vinny. He wins the Heisman at Miami, goes to Tampa Bay. They were a terrible team. So Vinny was thought of through about 92, his years in Tampa Bay, as a bust. Then he goes to Cleveland. Belichick is there. He wins the job from Kosar. Then he goes to Baltimore. They weren't very good at that point. When that's the same team, of course, Cleveland moving to Baltimore as the Ravens. And then with the Jets in 98. Those were kind of the glory days, because he takes the team in 98 under Parcells to the AFC Championship game.
I remember a time when he was at Tampa Bay that they thought he was colorblind.
Yeah.
And they were giving him tests and everything, and glasses and every type of thing.
Toss to Anderson. gets tripped up as he reaches the 35. Let's go to Michelle.
Well, you're talking about Vinny Testaverde. He has a legendary workout regimen that really focuses on his lower body more than it does his upper body. He believes that when a quarterback's legs go, his arm is sure to follow. So in the offseason, he squats up to 500 pounds or more. During the regular season, Al, he squats 405 pounds to loosen up his leg muscles the day after games.
Well, when you look at him, you know, in street clothes, John's right. He doesn't look like he's in his 40s, in phenomenal shape. And here he is starting for the Dallas Cowboys. And on 3rd down and 7, he's able to pick up the first down right on the money to Antonio Bryant. First down up to the 44.
Yeah, we talk about Vinny Testaverde and how he stands in there and the protection. But watch not only how they protect for Vinny, but how they give him lanes to throw in. Watch, you see the lane where he can just step up to get that ball to Antonio Bryant. Not only very good protection, very nice pocket, but an excellent lane to throw in.
2 minutes to go in the opening quarter with Dallas on top. And Anderson now works the left side. Anderson takes it up to the 48-yard line. You know, you look at these teams, I mentioned it at the top, John. Dallas has really had Washington's number, despite the fact that over the last 6.5 years, Washington has been overall a slightly better team. I mean, if you take out the Dallas wins, Washington has a far better record, but Dallas has had the Redskins number.
You know, and in the NFL, sometimes stuff like that happens. I mean, you can have the better team, but you just have someone's number, and that's the way that the Cowboys play. I mean, they feel very confident when they play against the Redskins.
And the pass is incomplete. Intended for Terry Glenn, broken up by the rookie Sean Taylor. Just to illustrate this, it's kind of an aberration. The Redskins, as you can see, against the Cowboys, 1-12 in the last 6.5 years. Against all of the teams, they're 2 games above 500. But if you look at the Cowboys, if you throw out the wins against the Redskins, they're an abysmal 33-58.
I'll tell you, this crowd is into this. What do we have, 91,000 people here or something? A marching band? This is a great scene.
Biggest stadium in the NFL, 3rd and 6. And Testaverde hit from behind, and the pass is incomplete. And that was the cornerback, Fred Smoot, who is now the absence of Champ Bailey after the Bailey trade to Denver. Smoot is the key corner.
You know, and that was the thing that Vinny Testaverde was talking about. He says, we know that they do that. Here's the corner. Here's Fred Smoot out there. He's going to come in a blitz. Vinny Testaverde looks. Now watch, he doesn't see him coming. He's looking in the middle, then he's looking to his right, and Fred Smoot comes from his backside.
Matt McBriar, who played Australian rules football in his home country. And the kick is out of bounds, and they'll march it off somewhere around the 30-yard line. They'll spot it at the 28-yard line now. Think of the 27-yard line with 1 minute and 6 seconds remaining in the opening quarter. That's only a 26-yard punt.
You know, I think that right now Mark Brunell has to come back to Lavernius Coles. You know, we know on that last drive that Coles dropped 2 on him, but you can't let a guy get down and lose him for the game. I mean, you have to get him. You have to get him back, get his confidence, because I don't care how good you are. And you say, well, they're all pros. They all know what they're doing. But when you drop a couple, you do lose a little confidence.
And that last one, the drop was followed by a smack from Roy Williams. And Coles right now is out of the game. In fact, he's still feeling the effects of it. And Taylor Jacobs, 84, is taking Lavernius' spot. On the ground, looking for room and finding a little through the left side is Clinton Portis. Flag thrown.
You see how that Clinton Portis can get into a hole and through a hole and gain about 4 yards just falling down?
Picking, threading.
This has to be killing Joe Gibbs. I know what he's thinking. He's thinking, you know, we're playing hard. We're going after things. We're doing things. We're just, again, not playing smart football. And by smart football, he means no penalties, no turnovers.
Ball was holding Didn't hear Austin announce the number. 1st and 20. And another whistle. Been ragged.
Ball start, 66 offense, 5 yards. It's still 1st down.
Derek Dockery.
You know, and Mark Brunell in this offense isn't the type of offense that can get big chunks. I mean, this is the type of offense that, you know, I mean, you want to be able to run Clinton Portis. You want to be able to run those slants. You want to be able to do those things. And then when the penalties keep putting you back and putting you in these downs and distances, this is very, very difficult for this offense.
Yeah,
difficult for any offense.
Their biggest chunk of the year was Clinton Portis' first carry as a Redskin for 64 yards on opening day. Portis forced out of bounds at about the 17-yard line by Brady James.
Yeah, I was talking to Joe Bugle the other day, and he's a line coach and assistant head coach here, and he was saying once they got Portis and they found out what he was, they know that they have to run to the perimeters more. You know, that they always like the, you know, the hogs and the power football and run between the tackles with John Riggins. And he said once we saw Portis, we knew this wasn't Riggins, and we can run inside, but we better get to the perimeters.
That's the end of the 1st quarter with the Dallas Cowboys leading the Washington Redskins 7-0 in Monday Night Football. Will continue after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Well, a lot of people think they're larger than life. And neither guy would be really good at a filibuster. I mean, Parcells makes his point known very quick.
Yeah, and Joe Gibbs is the same way.
He makes it, yeah. They're not going to hang around. Not a lot of yakking. 2nd down and 21 from the 17-yard line. Al Michaels with John Madden in the shelter for you. FedEx Field, more than 90,000 looking on. And as we start the 2nd quarter, Brunell is going to go deep. And it's too deep. Intended for Rod Gardner. Terrence Newman with him step for step.
You know, somewhere here they're going to throw a double move on Terrence Newman. One, because he's susceptible to it. Remember on that last drive when he jumped that short thing? He will jump the first thing he sees. And if you give him a little out or a little stop, I think Gardner went too quickly on that one. I think it has to be more, you know, sell that stop, sell that hook more, and then go. Because Terrence Newman is a great corner, but he will take a big, big bite.
Newman, their #1 draft choice in 2003. 3rd down and 21, and they're going to keep it on the ground, go to Portis. And Clinton gets out to the 27-yard line, but it'll be 4th down, and the punting unit comes in here.
If they could just get in a down and distance where the running would mean something, the Redskins would be in a lot better shape, because just watch Clinton Portis' feet here. I mean, he can make a cut here, and then he can make that jump cut back to the other side, and then land on that foot and jump cut back to the other side. He is very tough to tackle with one guy.
Triple kick after a 1st quarter in Washington. Gained 58 yards and were penalized 66, and now it's Ward who gets upended at the 49-yard line. So they were penalized 8 more yards than they gained on offense. And Dallas has the ball at midfield and a 7-0 lead in Washington. And before the remnants of Hurricane Gene beginning to make their way into the Washington area. Had a little shower before the game. A little more consistent rainfall right now at a little past 10 o'clock. And in the game is Rashard Lee, who's going to see a lot of action in the coming weeks because of the injury to Julius Jones. So you've got George, and you have this guy, Rashard Lee, first year back out of Middle Tennessee State.
Bill Parcells was saying last night, he said, I like him because he's a little bigger. He said, but I really don't trust him yet. And that's one thing with Bill Parcells. You have to earn trust, and you have to earn trust by playing well, not fumbling, and blocking when you're called upon.
Bill's trust is tough to earn.
And hard to keep.
Yep. Second down and 8. From the 50. Under pressure. Testaverde was hit as he threw, and the pass is incomplete, intended for Johnson, and Antonio Pierce was back there, and it looked like he didn't see the ball because he's angry with himself. The ball was right there to be picked off. Testaverde, that time the pressure was put on by Demetric Evans.
And he's going to get the pressure right up the middle. Here comes the pressure right here. You see the tackle works out, the guard works in, and he just splits both of them, and he's right up on Vinny Testaverde.
Two quarterbacks combined, 29%, 6 out of 21. Third and 8. Pressure put on from the secondary, and it's thrown away. And that time it's Matt Bowen, the speedy safety, who comes in unblocked and forces the issue in a 4th down.
And you know, on a Greg Williams defense, when you get 3rd and long, you are going to get a blitz. And you're going to see, here's Bowen right here, and he's just going to come right off this corner. But you see, Matt Bowen lines up like he's out there in the slot. He comes right off the slot, forces Vinny Testaverde out more than he wants to go, and makes him throw the ball away.
McBriar to punt again. Bounces at the 5 and takes a sideways skip, but it goes into the end zone. Once it crosses the goal line, that's it. Almost perfect. Instead, only 29 yards net. 13:07 left in the first half. The Lincoln Memorial on this Monday night in our nation's capital. 7-0 Dallas. 13:07 remaining in the first half. Dallas on top 7-0 on an Eddie George touchdown set up by a very dubious pass interference call. Now Washington 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. Brunell is 0 for his last 7 and 2 for 11 overall. And they give it to Portis, who picks up 3. Working against the Dallas defense that was #1 in the league last year. And one thing about this defense, against the pass, they've been terrific. The average last year in the NFL in terms of completion percentage, a little below 60. Dallas and Mike Zimmer in charge of that unit, holding the opponents under 50% in 7 out of 18 games, which is really exceptional. Second down and 7 now from the 23-yard line. And Brunell gets taken down from behind by Leroy Glover. A little faking and juking, and Dallas not buying it and coming through. And down goes Brunell again.
You know, you were talking about the strength of the Cowboy defense is really in their secondary. I mean, their best players are, you know, their corner Terrence Newman, Roy Williams, the safety, and last year Darren Woodson. Here, there's great coverage downfield. Brunell has to look, he has to pump again, he has to hold it, and then Leroy Glover gets there.
3rd down and 11 with 12 minutes to go in the first half. Pocket collapsing, and Brunell goes down in a heap again. Greg Ellis, who comes up big in almost every Monday night game in which he plays, gets the sack.
Yeah, we always talk about Joe Gibbs and his offense, and his first priority is to protect the quarterback. Well, in doing that, you don't send a lot of receivers out. On the play before this, he only sent 3 receivers out. This one, he had 4 receivers out, but the Cowboys on both of them had very good coverage.
Back-to-back sacks. This will be Cooper's 5th punt of the game. And the game is less than 20 minutes old. Ward up to the 42-yard line. Washington with 64 yards of offense and 66 yards in penalties, and they can't get anything going. 7-0 Cowboys. Hogs look sad. Not a pretty picture for a Redskin fan. The man being circled is LeVar Arrington, the 3-time Pro Bowler, who went to an arthroscopic knee surgery Mike Barrow, the former New York Giant. 2 of their starting linebackers are out. As far as Barrow is concerned, though, the guy who's taken his place, Antonio Pierce, has been outstanding. It might be tough for Barrow to get back in the starting lineup. Lamar Marshall, 98, is the guy taking Arrington's spot, at least for the next couple of weeks.
You're talking about the Redskin defense. It was interesting in the first 9 plays, they only blitzed 1 time. On the last 10 plays, they blitzed 7. So I think Greg Williams is starting to get a feel for this offense now, the Cowboys, and he's getting more and more confident that he can really blitz this offense.
2nd down and 8. Testaverde is 4 out of 11. Little dump off, and they love this guy. When I say they, I mean Parcells. Jason Witten makes the catch, and it's taken down at about the line of scrimmage. 2nd-year tight end out of Tennessee. And when Bill calls a guy by his name, it doesn't say the player or the tight end, but goes Witten, you know he likes him.
Right, and he feels that he needs him more and more in the game. So sometimes it'll be with 2 tight ends, or a lot of the times it'll be with 2 tight ends, but sometimes it's just Jason Witten in the game. Bill Parcells feels his best 4 playmakers are Terry Glenn, Keyshawn Johnson, Antonio Bryant, and Witten.
3rd and 4 from the 49-yard line. And this is Rashard Lee with a nice bit of running. Picks up the 1st down, finally tackled at the 44-yard line. So you've got Lee and you've got George, and that's going to be, along with Richie Anderson, the running game with Julius Jones hurt.
You want to see an offensive lineman and what an offensive lineman should do and look like and how they should play. Watch him fire out, start on a double team, get Ronaldo in, and just keep driving him back. This guy is the most powerful offensive lineman in the National Football League.
1st and 10 from the 44-yard line. And that is caught. Gain of 8. You know, I think Skycam may be the greatest boon to offensive linemen, especially to a guard. He's playing inside. You never know what's really going on. You know, you've heard about Larry Allen through the years. He's good enough that he'll be in Canton someday, Hall of Fame. But in the meantime, you go to a game and you go, huh? You know, what did he do? I can't see what he did. Skycam is going to be terrific for a guy like that.
You're right. The Skycam will not only show the Larry Allens, but will show the guy next to him, Flozell Adams on his right, on his left, and will show Al Johnson, the center, on his right. But this is the guy that's the best.
2nd and 2. Same play they just ran, and this time the Redskins sniff it out. Ron Warner makes the tackle. He's the guy filling in for Philip Daniels, who is hurt.
We're talking about that sometimes he works with a tackle, sometimes he works with a center. Here you're going to see the double there. You get this guy in the gap, and you have to get him moved if you're going to run the ball to that side. They got him moved, but there was no crease back to the other side.
That was Brandon Noble, and that's called 2 chances. None and none. 3rd and 3. And the pass is incomplete. Smoot coming in to help break it up to the chant of Smoot, intended for Keyshawn Johnson, and Washington will get it back. Keyshawn, no catches tonight.
I was just going to say, I don't think Keyshawn Johnson has caught a pass here. Here's Keyshawn Johnson. He's going to run and out. The ball is there. It looks like it just went right through his hand. I mean, Vinny threw that one exactly where he had to, because you have to throw it away. You have to throw it to Keyshawn, but you have to throw it away from the defender.
Matt McBriar, scrimmage to 38. Fair catch called for, made at the 9-yard line by Chad Morton. 7.5 to go. The Iwo Jima Memorial in our nation's capital on this Monday night. Cowboys up by a touchdown. Monday Night Football, up the road we go to Baltimore. Next week, Ravens 2-1. Ray Lewis, Jamal Lewis, and the gang will host the Kansas City Chiefs, who need a win to get it turned around. Priest, Holmes, Lewis, Monday Night Football next week. Now this is Portis. Washington's average drive start, their own 17-yard line. So they've been pinned deep. Portis, 2 years at Denver. The best way to look at some of the guys historically are to compare them at the same points in their careers. Look at Eric Dickerson, his first 31 games, 3,800 yards. Jimmy Brown, 3,300. And there's Portis right there. Portis tonight will go past Brown for the first 32 games in his career. So it's very difficult to match a Clinton Portis up against E.D. and Jimmy Brown, but you just take a look at how they started and where he is starting. Here's Coles, and he gets taken down about 4 yards shy of the first.
Mark Brunell had to get rid of that one because Roy Williams, the strong safety, came up and he blitzed, and he was coming absolutely free right at Mark Brunell. Brunell luckily was throwing to that side so he could see him. Watch, here's Roy Williams here. He comes free right up the middle. Brunell had to throw it exactly at that time.
Brunell had thrown 7 incompletions, a couple with drops. Mark right now 3 out of 12 to 23 yards. So the Redskins are averaging less than 2 yards per pass attempt. Portis, meanwhile, is averaging 5 yards per run. 3rd and 3, and the pass is low. It's caught, and then Portis gets up, and Portis is not tackled until he picks up the first down. Roy Williams, the Cowboys are going to try to say he was down well before that spot. The officials say no.
And Mark Brunell is saying, hurry up, get in the huddle so we can get up the line of scrimmage and call a play. I don't know that he caught that ball.
Well, that's questionable. Then he's contacted there. So here come the Redskins. They get up to the line of scrimmage so quickly that Dallas can't issue a challenge, and Portis takes it to the 30-yard line. So the Cowboys actually could have challenged that on 2 counts. 1, did he catch it? 2, was he down by contact? But the Redskins, knowing this, got up to the line of scrimmage so quickly that Parcells had no chance to get the flag out of his pocket.
You know, I think Mark Brunell saw that whole thing. You know, he was the guy that threw it, and then he watched it, and immediately after that play, he signaled everyone, hurry up, let's get in the huddle, get up to the line of scrimmage, and get the ball snapped in the next play.
Defense, 12 men on the field. He didn't clear the field prior to the snap. 5 yards. Repeat first down.
So a bonus to Washington. They couldn't even get the defense. And the other thing that I think that Bill Parcells had to be thinking about, he's already had 1 challenge. This would have been his final challenge, and we still have 35 minutes and change left in the game.
You know, to be honest, I don't think he had enough time to think about it.
Right.
In fact, you know, because of that quick huddle and getting up there and changing the pace, he caught the Cowboys with 12 men in the field.
12 men in the field and no chance to challenge it. First down and 5, and Brunell throws, and it is caught by Robert Royal. To the 43, here's Michelle.
Well, on the sideline, after giving up those 2 sacks on their last possession, the Redskins offensive line got an intervention almost, Al. They were talked to and given a pep talk by Joe Gibbs, Joe Bugle, Don Breaux. All 3 coaches, the entire offense around the line, trying to give them a pep talk. We'll see how they continue to respond, Al.
I feel like it's 1985. Don Breaux, Joe Bugle, Joe Gibbs.
You know, when I first saw Don Breaux, when John Hadle was the starting quarterback for the San Diego Chargers, Dan Henning and Don Breaux were the 2 backup quarterbacks.
From the 42-yard line. And that's caught by Gardner. We talked about it in Canton in the Hall of Fame. Every time I look at Don Breaux, man, this is a guy, Central Casting, you say, send me a professor, they send you Don Breaux.
Or send me an old coach, they would send you Don Breaux.
Glass is always on the bridge of his nose. Assistant head coach and offensive coordinator, and another blast from the past on the Redskins staff.
Yeah, it looks like Mark Brunell is starting to get a little rhythm now.
Here's Portis. And another 3rd down coming up for Washington. The ball at the 50-yard line. Under 4 minutes now in the opening half.
I felt last week in watching the film of the Redskins that Mark Brunell, before he got hurt, wasn't playing well. That I didn't feel that he ever got in a rhythm with the pass offense, and I felt the same way tonight. But right now is the first time in 2 games that I feel that he is starting to get into some sort of rhythm.
Feeling the flow after 7 straight incompletions. He's now hit on 4 in a row. 3rd and a deuce from midfield. Rolling right this time. Firing, caught, 40-yard line. So Brunell, the left-hander, goes the other way and hits the rookie out of Utah State, the H-back Chris Cooley, for a big first down.
Yeah, and they tried to fool him. They really didn't fool the Cowboy defense. When you think a left-handed quarterback, you think that mostly he will bootleg to his left. Here Brunell comes out and bootlegs to his right. And you see the problems it causes him. You can't get your hips turned and your shoulders turned to get anything on the ball. But he does a heck of a job of getting it out there to Cooley.
Especially with Kenyon Coleman in his face, number 93 charging in. First down at the 40-yard line, under 3 to play in the half. Brunell again, and this time the pass is incomplete. Got a lot on it, but Lavernius Coles was well short of where it wound up.
And we had to get his speed on that one. I'm not sure if he was throwing that to Gardner, who was the outside guy, and expecting him to come in, or if he was throwing it to Coles. But whoever he was throwing it to, he put some left-handed mustard on it.
$53 yards on this drive, eclipsing their total on 5 drives. So their average drive had been about 9.5 yards. And that's caught by Coles, and then Newman brings him down, but not until he gets inside the 30 and moves the chains as they'll spot him at the 28-yard line. Chris Cooley making the catch.
We talked about Ray Brown, the right tackle. Watch him. He's blocking Greg Ellis there. Ellis makes a heck of an inside move on him. Ray Brown just gets a hand on him again, right there. Just enough to take him off of Mark Brunell so that he can get the ball out there to Cooley.
Cooley scored a touchdown on the opening drive last week in New York, and then the Redskins' mistakes began. Led all tight ends in receptions in college football last year.
Timeout, Washington.
And now Washington's going to take a timeout just before the 2-minute warning. They're first. And a light rain at FedEx Field. Over 91,000 the capacity here. Don't have to tell you how tough it is to get a ticket. Waiting list is still humongous. And they've added about 15,000 seats since the building opened in 1997.
That's why this is the most valuable franchise in the NFL.
Over $1 billion according to Forbes magazine, and nobody's going to dispute that as James Thrash makes the catch. We come to the 2-minute warning, and it'll be second and short when we come back. 1:57 remaining in the first half. Cowboys 7, Redskins nothing.
Welcome to the Michael Vick experience.
Ed, keep your hands and feet in the harness.
Please wait for the next available chair.
Do it. Enjoy the ride.
Welcome to my ride. Before the fun starts, here's a few tips. Remember, push up in the pocket zone, 7 step to the chin strap. Check your ecstasy. That's not in the playbook, but it should be.
NFL wide receivers are tough. So how could all-pro receiver Torrey Holt get caught wearing this, or this, or this? Find out on the Lexus Halftime Show during Monday Night Football's all-new feature, You've Been Sacked.
Torrey looks like he's going to a party at Dennis Rodman's house.
I have no idea how they could get someone to do what Torrey Holt did. This is going to be amazing. You have to watch this. How did that happen?
Coming up at halftime. Holt's already turned the set off. 2nd and 3. Brunell. Open. Caught. Coles. And they saved the touchdown. The Cowboys were able to make the tackle inside the 1-yard line. Reeves and Tony Dixon were there, but Brunell still in great rhythm right now, and it's 1st and goal.
Yeah, Brunell is 8 out of the last 9. Now, here's what you expect from Mark Brunell. Left-handed quarterback, bootleg to his left, and throw to his left, with Lavernius Coles coming across. But I think by going to the right once in a while, you can say, okay, he's not always going to bootleg to his left.
1:15 remaining in the half as the Skins try to tie the game. And Brunell will try to take it in himself. Try to thrust himself across the line, and he can't. It'll be 2nd down, and Joe Gibbs wants to call a timeout, but Greg Williams is saying,
he started with a weak timeout, and now his timeout is getting stronger and stronger. I think he has to decide whether he wants to go with 2 passes or a run and a pass.
Well, I think Greg Williams, looking at it defensively, is thinking to himself, you know what? Why should we give Dallas any more time than we have to? That last drive of 92 or more yards was in the Norv Turner error. In fact, that was in a game in which he was fired after the game. Meanwhile, there's Parcells. Brunell goes to the sideline. So it was a weak signal. And then I think Williams, remember, was a head coach for the last couple of years at Buffalo, is thinking, you know what, we're down here. We can save our timeouts. And on a best case basis, you score and you leave as little time as possible for the other guys, especially on a 1st and goal with a minute to play.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be worried about Dallas's offense right now. I mean, you're not talking about the Indianapolis Colts or so when they have one big play, and that was a pass interference play.
2nd down and goal. And now it's going to be 3rd down with Clinton Portis stopped there. Washington has 1 timeout. 3rd down and goal.
That was a play to bootleg left. If you look at the Dallas defense, they all converged on Clinton Portis. And if you watch Mark Brunell, he would have walked in. Watch these blue jerseys. They're all going to converge. Look at Brunell out here. Had he kept that, he would have walked in the end zone.
Do they call it here?
No. You could do that on 2nd down. I think they're going to look for it now on 3rd down. If I were the Dallas Cowboys, I would play bootleg option.
Well, now they're going to take a timeout. It's very dubious usage of the clock here, the clock management. Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 39. Budweiser, grab a cold, fresh Budweiser, it's game time. Nike and Snickers, home of the weekly Hungriest Player Award. They let the clock run down. They're now out of timeouts. If you have a sack here or a play that takes some time where the ball gets loose and you recover it, you don't have time. It's 4th down to call a timeout for a field goal.
Well, that's the thing. So what that does is that takes the run away from you. This has to be a pass play because you're not going to have time to run. And if you don't make it, get your field goal team out there.
I'd say sometimes you're away for 12 years, you can get a little rusty on clock management.
Well, he shouldn't have let Greg Williams talk him out of it when he first wanted to take it.
3rd down and goal. Come up in a very tight formation. Portis the tailback. Brunell throws. It's tipped and it's nearly intercepted. But at least they get the clock to stop so they can get a field goal attempt in. But that was a real botched series after a 1st and goal.
Yeah, they did. They tried to come back with a bootleg on 3rd down. It was there on 2nd down. I didn't think it would be there on 3rd down because you see the Cowboys now, they're playing outside. They're thinking containment. And if you look at the drops here, they're also thinking coverage. They're not selling out to the run because they knew that the Redskins had a pass.
Deflected by Dexter Coakley, and now Hall with what amounts to a 3-point extra point. 19-yard attempt, same spot from which you would kick an extra point in effect. And he boots it through, but not to the satisfaction of the crowd. You've got 1st and goal. You're trying to wrap up a 92-yard drive. You lose your place in terms of how you use the clock, and they're lucky they still have the opportunity to get a 3-pointer at the end. Well, the one thing they did, John, is they left Dallas with just about no time. Not the way they wanted.
And the way Dallas is playing offense, I think that's academic anyway. But the thing that they did is they got some rhythm. I mean, they were going nowhere fast. They couldn't get anything going. They couldn't run. They couldn't throw it. And at least they got some confidence that they can move the ball even though they didn't get it in.
Recap of the first half. Key play was what we felt was a bad call on interference. We thought should have been offensive. It was defensive on Harris that put the ball at the 1-yard line. Eddie George then was able to get into the end zone for the only touchdown of the game. And then you had this on 3rd down after it was 1st and goal. Coakley swats it. They have to settle for 3, and it's a 4-point game as we have 7 seconds left on the clock.
Did you see that coverage, though, in the end zone that the Cowboys had? Even if that ball weren't swatted, maybe it would have been intercepted.
You've been sacked, Torrey Holt. Michelle will have a live anew. Tim McGraw is here.
Met Tim McGraw. His bus was parked right next to my bus in the parking lot here.
Yeah, I met him before the game. Some nice reminiscences about his dad, the great relief pitcher Tug McGraw, who could light up a stadium. Rashard Lee will bring the ball back to the 17-yard line. So 1 play remaining. Likely kneel down, and the teams will go to the locker room. Testaverde, 6 out of 14 for 67 yards. Redskins have 150 yards of offense. Of course, most of that coming on that 1 drive. Parcells' team with 94 yards of offense, and Testaverde is coming off 2 300-yard performances.
You know, we talked early in the game about, knowing each other so well that maybe you do get a little conservative. I think we saw some of that in this first half.
So it's halftime. Dallas 7, Washington 3. And coming up next, the Lexus halftime show when we come back after this message from the National Football League and a word from our ABC stations.
The Lexus halftime show brought to you by the new 2005 Lexus RX, continuing to put the world on notice. Here now, Al Michaels.
Cowboys Redskins, this venerable rivalry, a renewal tonight. Dallas on top at the half. The score is 7-3. And we showed you that promo with Torrey Holt. We know you want to see the rest. This will be a feature we'll have from time to time. It's called You've Been Sacked. Teammates in the role of pranksters. All right, boys, roll it.
Hello, America. I'm the Rams center, Andy McCullum.
And I'm the Rams right guard, Adam Timmerman.
Today, we're going to sack
our good friend and teammate, Torrey Holt.
Okay, here's the game plan. Torrey Holt prides himself to be a great dresser. So Holt's trusty lineman sent Torrey a letter from a fake magazine dubbing him the best dressed man in the NFL. They then set up a phony cover shoot with all the fixins to see just how far they could make over this all-pro. Then Timberman and McCullum swoop in and make the sack. It starts with Torrey's magazine interview about how proud he is to be the best dressed man in the NFL.
It's a tremendous honor to be named best dressed. I know when I called my sister, she was ecstatic. I think Sporting Mag magazine is great. I think it's a great magazine. It gives people another opportunity to see athletes or entertainers or whatever have you outside of their particular craft. I want to thank all of the 15 million viewers and people that read the magazine for voting me the NFL's best man. It makes me feel great.
It's shoot time.
How'd the interview go?
Went good, man. Went good. It's fun. Fun as usual. This makeup thing, I ain't really fond of this makeup.
You don't like the makeup? Do you do many shoots?
I hate makeup.
Definitely want these lips to look great.
Get me all done up like a woman.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No.
Right.
Take a look at some clothes. Stand right this way. Now, how much did you work out?
Every day.
Oh, well, that's hot.
Tuck it in or out?
Go ahead and tuck it in.
I'm too sexy for my shirt. Too sexy for my shirt. So sexy it hurts.
Okay, this is so, erotica.
This is erotica, for real. Oh, my God.
Give us a little hand with that. Oh, stud. Ooh, that's hot. Work it out.
Be my new look for the season.
This is a collection.
Oh, right there.
Yeah.
Follow me.
Okay, so that looks drying out there.
I didn't know what I was getting into.
Fabulous. That's so hot. Nice. Oh yeah, that's fabulous. Game 6. That's what I'm talking about.
Don't tell nobody about this. Hey, Tor.
Don't tell nobody.
Hey, congratulations. Hey, congratulations. Yeah, we just want to say congrats, man. Big honor. Thank you very much. Yeah, man. That's a big honor. It's 40, man.
Too bad the magazine's not real. Not real. Not real.
You've been sacked. You've been sacked on Monday night. Sorry, dude. That's crazy, man. We didn't think you put the juice on. That's what I told you. You gotta be kidding. Oh my God. You're too good a sport. That's crazy. Torrey Holt has just been sacked Monday Night Football.
Third quarter, FedEx Field, Landover, Maryland, just outside our nation's capital. Al Michaels, John Madden, and Michelle Tafoya. As the third week of the 2004 NFL season concludes, 4-point game with Dallas on top 7-3, and Dallas will get the ball. John Hall to kick off. Third quarter about to begin.
John Hall kicking off with 2 hamstring pulls. Pulled the first one 2 weeks ago and pulled another one last week. So, I don't know how you do that.
So what do they do? Balance each other?
Yeah, I don't
anything like that.
I would worry about power. I mean, I would think that he's going to have a tough time getting any length to this kickoff.
John Hall, longtime Jet. Fairly decent kick, 10-yard line. Jock Reeves, the rookie, brings it back to about the 24-yard line. Let's check in with Michelle.
Well, I spoke with Bill Parcells as he came out of the locker room. He's happy with his defense. He wasn't happy with the mental lapses made by his offensive line. They only were able to rush for 29 yards in the first half, but he told me, I still think we can run on this team. As for the Redskins, strong safety Matt Bowen has a strained leg muscle out. His return is questionable.
And that'll hurt because Bowen put the pressure on from the secondary on a key play in the first half. Andre Lott now comes in, so it's Lott and Sean Taylor, the rookie, in as the safeties on first down from the 24-yard line. Testaverde begins by throwing one to Glenn for a gain of about 4. First half numbers will appear. Most of Washington's offense was in that one drive that resulted in a field goal at the end, so 150 total yards. The Cowboys with 93 total yards, but the big play was that 38-yard pass interference penalty, which doesn't go into those numbers, and that set up the Cowboys touchdown.
You know, sometimes you have to pass the ball to run it, and sometimes you have to run it to pass it, and I think that's what the Cowboys are trying to do. You know, open up with a pass, loosen up, then come back with the run.
Now Eddie George picks up a couple, setting up 3rd and 3. You caught a glimpse of Keyshawn Johnson. He has not caught a pass tonight.
Did you see that last formation? We're seeing that more and more, and the Cowboys really like it. It's a full house backfield. You have two backs here that can lead right here and lead right here, and then the tailback in that position. Bill Parcells says it's something you can get a motion, get a double lead to one side. See, that's exactly what that was, a double lead to the right side. So the other thing, you can do the same thing for pass protection.
3rd down and 2 this time, a sole back, and that's Anderson staying in, and then the pass is knocked away. Nice defensive play by Walt Harris, who was called for that pass interference on Glenn in the first half.
Now, sometimes I think Vinny Testaverde makes up his mind before he reads. I think he knows that he's going to throw out here to Keyshawn Johnson. Keyshawn is being double teamed. There's 2 defenders right there, and Vinny Testaverde throws it anyway.
McBriar now to punt after a 3-and-out on the opening drive. Deep kick, 19-yard line. Chad Morton runs it back 8 yards to the 27-yard line, taken down by Davis. 49-yard boot. Washington ball. Start track for the Redskins tonight. How the key guys been doing. Brunell 100 yards. Most of those, of course, on that last drive. Portis averaging 4.5 per carry. Coles has caught 3 balls tonight. Not a lot of offense when you score 3 points.
Coles also dropped 2 that he should have had. And if the Redskins get better field position and better down and distance, we're going to see more Clinton Portis.
And that is caught by James Thrash. Came over from the Eagles after starting his career here. Tony Dixon makes the stop. That's an 18-yard gain for Thrash.
Yeah, the Redskins were in the old bunch formation. You see them bunched down here. 3 wide receivers, 3 receivers, and they just all break out. Good protection for Mark Brunell. See him, he can look over there. He had the 3 guys, and they all break out of the bunch, and he finds Thrash wide open.
Brunell to the outside. Thrash again, and he's able to stay in bounds long enough to pick up the first down. Spinning around Nathan Jones, and the ball now in Dallas territory.
You know, I felt that drive by the Redskins just before halftime really gave them confidence. Now, I know that they didn't get it in. They got down there, and they floundered at the goal line. But I thought the confidence that gave them, if they can move the ball on this defense, they found out what they wanted to do, where they want to go with it, and now they can bring it back in this 3rd quarter.
Throw up Portis, and Portis puts the ball on the ground but recovers it himself. Portis went through the last half of last season in Denver without fumbling. Then he fumbled twice last week, losing both against New York, and this time he puts it on the ground again but recovers it himself.
I talked to him about those 2 fumbles, and he says the one, he ran into his own guy. He said he was trying to jump over. Just kind of like that, he started to run into his own guy. The other one, he said he was switching hands in traffic.
Without a huddle, they go, and the flag is thrown. Brunell gets it away.
Brunell knows it's against him, too. Yeah, that was the 2nd play in a row they went no huddle. They were trying to do something to get some rhythm here to change the pace, and that's what their idea was, to come out in this 3rd quarter with no huddle.
Holding, 66 offense, 10 yards, repeat 2nd down.
Eric Dockery, 2nd penalty on him tonight.
You know, there's no place to hide. I mean, the offensive lineman is, like you said, the sky cam is great for him. But the other thing, the only time they ever get mentioned is when they hold.
That's it.
The referee in the history of the NFL has never said, hey, you just see that block by old 66? Yeah. That was it. No. The only time they said it, holding. Number 66.
Even in college now, they used to get away with it. You know, it was holding offense. Now they announced the guy's number, 2nd down and 21. They finally grew up. Thrash again. And Thrash, who started his career here, then went to Philadelphia, where he was the main target for McNabb. Then they got Terrell Owens, and Thrash comes back here, has caught another one.
You know, that bunch has really given this Cowboy defense some problems. They're man-to-man, and you see here again the 3 wide receivers here. They just break out. One goes out, one goes in, and one hooks right in the middle. So they're getting 2 and 3 wide receivers to one side, bunching them up, not spread them out, bunch them up, and then spread them on the snap. They're not doing it on this play.
3rd and 12 from the 44-yard line. Brunell's slip and just has to get it away because of the powerful rush from the right defensive side. And there's another marker.
And that was that blitz. Remember, we talked about how that weak side blitz, they overload it, and that's what you do against the Redskins. Clinton Portis wasn't in there on that play, but it's the same idea. You know, they have their blockers on the right side.
Intentional
You
grounding.
blitz their left side.
Number 8 of the offense. More than 10 yards is at the spot of the foul. The down counts. 4th down.
Just unloading, and no receiver in the neighborhood, and that'll cost them another 10.
Yeah, they only have 2 blockers on this side. They have their extra blocker over here. So what they're going to do is blitz on the weak side. Just overload that back side and get the free rusher coming to that side. 1, you get a free rusher, and 2, it keeps it back in the backfield.
Tom Tupa again trying to directional punt. This one closer to the middle than his previous ones. And Dedrick Ward gets taken down at about the 20. So about 4 minutes into the 3rd quarter. 7-3 Cowboys. Monday Night Football being brought to you by what can Brown do for you? Joe Gibbs right in the middle, going over the things with the offense, which has staggered along tonight, has only 3 points, and Dallas now from the 20-yard line. Eddie George gets taken down in the backfield by Joe Salavea, number 95, 6th-year out of Arizona. Keyshawn Johnson tonight, very quiet. Remember Keyshawn last year leaving Tampa Bay. In effect, got fired. Winds up playing for his old coach Parcells, now in Dallas. But the key right now, blanked in this one.
And a guy like Keyshawn, in fact, it's true of most receivers. You have to get him the ball early and get him involved in the game. And if you don't, the longer you go, the farther they get out of the game.
Vinny going deep. And what a catch by Antonio Bryant. Bryant was covered very well by Fred Smoot, and he was able to get position, get inside Smoot, and that's 47 yards.
Antonio Bryant, as you said, he made the position, because here one thing you can do is you can run by him. Now, if you're not going to get by him, you look back, you see the ball, you slow up just a little. And you see Smoot was going like he was going to catch the ball. Antonio Bryant just dove right over him and caught the ball right in front of his hands.
A talented, emotional guy is Bryant, but a guy who's been known to drop balls with great frequency. That time he plays it perfectly. Big gain, and now Testaverde going deep over the middle and wide open, and sooner or later Keyshawn Johnson's going to make the catch, and there's his first of the night, setting up first down just outside the 10-yard line.
It's all started with great protection, and Keyshawn Johnson is just going to run a deep in. You see him, he's up on top. He's right here. He gets inside that cover 2. Now he knows that there's a hole in front of the safety behind the linebacker. You see here the good protection. Vinny can hold it, pump, and come back to Keyshawn Johnson as his 3rd read.
They spot it just inside the 10. That makes it 1st and goal. Break the full house backfield. Testaverde throwing to the corner, and it's caught by Witten for the touchdown. Witten, the guy we talked about, the guy Parcells loves, H-back, tight end, put him in motion. He can block, he can catch, and he can get free.
I'll tell you, and that's what Bill Parcells wants to do. He wants to get Jason Witten on a linebacker. That's exactly what he has right here. And it looked like to me that Vinny Testaverde, the minute he saw that, he just throws that ball to the back pylon. He saw him get the inside position, and he just threw it up there.
Floated it in after Witten had gone in motion, and that snap was dropped, but Billy Cundiff is able to boot it through. So Robinson snapped Dropped by Romo, but he got it back down. Witten for the touchdown. And the Cowboys are up 14-3. Witten catching it. Thrown by Testaverde, second-year tight end out of Tennessee. Vinny Testaverde has now tied Dan Fouts, 10th place in NFL history. Our buddy and colleague, old Dan, at 254 touchdown passes. 13-yard line, Chad Morton. And Morton brings it all the way back out to the 38-yard line. Touchdown passes. Well, Dan Marino a mile in front of Brett Favre, though conceivably Brett could catch him. And then Tarkenton, and you look at that very, very illustrious list. But our man Fauci would want everybody to know that he played in fewer games than anybody on that list. 181. This is 204 for Testaverde. There you go, Dan.
Dan Fouts was something special.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
you know, talking about a guy that could throw the ball and get back in the pocket. Dan Fouts was one. Here's another one. Sonny Jurgensen. I mean, Sonny Jurgensen was amazing with the football.
38-yard line, and Brunell goes down. He gets sacked as he moves to the outside by Tony Dixon. Speaking of Sonny Jurgensen, one more, and Testaverde will tie Sonny in 9th place. The cigar. You think of the Redskins, I mean, you think of Jurgensen, Billy Kilmer, John Riggins.
And then there's the guy next to Sonny there that was a Giant and a Redskin, Sam Huff.
Yeah, I still think of him, though, as a Giant.
Yeah. The violent world of Sam Huff. Remember that?
Yep. And he's such a good guy. He's a nice guy. 2nd and 19. And that's Portis getting back most of the 19. I mean, if you just ran into Sam Huff, you'd have no idea what he had done for a living. There's old Sam on the left.
No. Sam had to get there. Sam was going to be in on every tackle, whether the whistle blew or not. Remember, there was a story about someone was holding the guy down, and he said, let me up. And they said, no, hold on, wait till Sam gets here. Sam was something that he was a tackler, and he was a hitter, and he was going to make every tackle in every game.
3rd down and 1, halfway through the 3rd period. Skins down by 11. Rolling to his right. Pass a little high, but hauled in by Rod Gardner for a 1st down. Parcells and Gibbs, no stranger to Monday Night Football. Their first ever meeting, a most memorable one for this particular play. Joe Theismann breaking his leg. That unforgettable image, Lawrence Taylor signaling to get out here, get somebody out here. And that's all anybody will remember about a game which turned out to be a pretty fascinating one. Over the middle, Portis to the 43. Young Jay Schrader, who had only thrown a handful of passes in his career, came in. And Schrader, right off the bat, his first pass in relief of Theismann was this beauty to Art Monk. And then in that game, Washington with 2 surprise onside kicks, recovered both, and wound up beating the Giants that night. There was the second. 2nd and 3. And the pass incomplete. That wind blitzing that time and forcing the pass.
Well, and the Redskins went no huddle again. I'm sure that's one of the things they talked about. One of the adjustments that Joe Gibbs made. We showed that shot there between series. He was there. He had the whole offense there, and that's what coaches do. Coaches coach. And you know, and some guy, you know, the saying I used to hate was, you know, the last day of practice, someone would say, well, the hay's in the barn. I'd say the hay's not in the barn. We still got a lot of coaching to do. I mean, you have to coach the first half. You have to coach at halftime. You have to coach the second half. You keep on coaching.
There's a lot of mucking still to be done.
Right.
3rd down and 3, and that is a short pass that won't net the 1st down. So they need 3 and throw a 2-yard pass to Rod Gardner. Newman and Dixon are right there to make sure it's a 4th down.
I think Joe Gibbs is going to go for it. That 3rd down play was one of those bunch things where they kind of had a short, a medium, and a deeper, and he had to go to the shortest guy. See the bunch on the right side? So he has the 3 options over there on his right side. The 2 deeper ones were covered, and he had to go to the short guy.
The line up to go for it. Play clock is down to 5. 4th down and a long yard. And now Brunell is going to take a timeout. The play clock about to expire. And he had to take it. Otherwise, it would have been 4th down and 6. One significant difference for Gibbs. When he last coached, it was a 45-second play clock. They went to 40 seconds the year after. They were very, very slow in getting that play in and had to use the timeout. Now it's 4th down and 1 at the 41. So just another of the adjustments that Joe has to make after a dozen years away. And on 4th and 1, Brunell throwing to the outside and can't get it there. Looking for a flag, and there is one. Portis to the outside. Dexter Copley with contact, and there's a personal foul
Number 75,
away from that play.
15 yards. First down.
And that's Marcellus Wiley, who has just given Washington a gift.
And that is a big, big gift because the Cowboys were going to have great field position. And you see Mark Brunell, he has no one to throw it to. In fact, it's 4th down, and he kind of looks like he throws it away. Now watch number 75 up on top of the screen. It's not only did he hit him late, but he looked like he hit him in the head.
A blow to the head. Big penalty. Instead of Dallas ball at midfield, Washington ball at the 26-yard line.
I know what Bill Parcells is saying now. That was really, really stupid.
And the guys from Columbia, too. The school, not the country. 4-yard gain for Portis. 2nd and 6.
No, pretty good block by Randy Thomas there, the right guard. He pulled across and trapped. You know, Thomas is one of the guys that played for both Joe Gibbs and Bill Parcells, and he said one of them coaches with fear and the other one coaches with love. Which would you say would be which?
Fear and love.
Yep, fear in the left.
There's some loathing,
love
too.
in the right.
It should be a Hunter Thompson book, Fear and Love. Roy Williams comes up to take down Portis in his tracks. 4:44 remaining now in the 3rd. Winner of this game goes to 2-1. Philly leads the division. They're 3-0. The Giants are 2-1. Loser of this game in last place alone at 1-2.
Isn't this kind of what you expect from a Redskin Cowboy game, an NFC Eastern Division? I mean, these things have so much history and tradition. This is kind of what the whole thing is all about.
3rd and 4, 21-yard line. Out of the empty backfield. Under pressure. Coles. And let's see where they'll spot it. Right at the 1st down marker. Should be the first. Where they put the ball down. Terrence Newman runs him out of bounds, but that should move the chains and will.
Brunell does an excellent job of getting rid of the ball. You're going to see Coles is right here. Again, there's just 2 receivers on that side. One goes deep. Coles does a little stutter step, and then he runs an out. And Brunell, you got pressure straight up the middle. It was a blitz by the Cowboys, and they had a 3 rusher coming right up the middle. Brunell did a great job just getting rid of that ball.
And now Washington is forced to use another timeout. Down by 11, 18 minutes left in the game, and they only have 1 timeout left. 14-3 Dallas. Very interesting turn of events here. Timeout was taken by Washington because Mike Sellers didn't know where to line up. That enabled Bill Parcells, clearly prompted by the people upstairs, his coaches, to challenge the spot on the last play, which was a 3rd down and 4 from the 20-yard line. Now take a look at this. This is Coles, and what the guys upstairs are telling Bill is it's worth a challenge to set up a 4th down. So with Washington calling the timeout and no play being run, this enables Parcells to make the call here. It's an interesting challenge in as much as it will cost him a timeout if he loses it. It will be his last challenge since he lost the other one.
Right, and remember, it's where the ball is when he goes out of bounds. It's all about the ball.
So by taking the timeout, by extending the time that Parcells was able to make this decision, but the upside here, I don't want to say it's minimal, but it's going to be 4th and inches. They're going to go for it, you would think anyway, though in an 11-point game, I guess you could opt to go for the field goal. It still would be a one-possession game. Was that a smile? Or?
I think they'd go for it.
When the runner's left knee goes to the ground, the ball is extended to the line of game. So it is a first down. Dallas is charged with a first timeout, and that is their final review.
So Bill getting the word from upstairs, and again, I thought it was just a little dubious to do this because the upside is pretty small and the downside significant. You lose a timeout, and now you don't have a challenge left with 18 minutes and 42 seconds left in the game.
But you know, in the last 2 minutes of the game, the challenge goes to the booth anyway, so he's going to get it back at the end of the game. And I think that the upside of that was put him in 4th down. Make him make that decision. You want to kick a field goal, you want to go for it. And as if we know, from last week, I mean, just thinking of Dante Culpepper down there in the goal. I mean, things can happen if you give him another down and you play a very, very aggressive defense.
I think it was most dubious of all because it looked like he had the first down. So somebody was looking with their heart instead of their eyes upstairs because the ruling on the field was a first down and the chances of it being changed were very minimal. Here's Portis now, taking it to the 11-yard line.
Yeah, Clinton Portis is starting to get the feel of that counter. I felt that the first 2 weeks that he didn't have it timed with his offensive linemen, that he was getting there too quickly. In fact, I talked to him the other day about it, and he said, the thing that I have to learn about that counter is I have 2 guys pulling, and I have to have patience. And you watch him here. See, he has to wait until these 2 guys get in front of him. Randy Thomas got in front of him that time, got a good block, so he was able to cut back off it.
2nd and 6. Portis with patience and a little bit of prudence too, picking up the first down to the 5-yard line. Roy Williams makes the tackle.
See, he runs that counter again, this time to the right, and at some point with his speed and his quickness, he's going to say, the heck with patience, I'm gone, I'm out of here. You see, he has to wait until those 2 linemen get out there in front of him, and then he just leaves them. He said, I'm going to use my moves, and I'm going to use my speed right now. And he goes, okay, the counter's okay to right here, then I'm going to take it outside and get a first down. He's pretty good.
1st and goal, ball at the 6-yard line. Portis to the 2-yard line. Taken down to 2 minutes left in the 3rd period.
That one wasn't a counter. That was just a trap. They brought their offside guard, Derek Dockery, and he trapped. So that's a lot quicker play than the counter. The counter, you have to let 2 guys pull and get in front of you, get their shoulder square. A trap, it was just the off guard pulling.
2nd and goal. Cowboys just rushing an 11th man onto the field at the last moment. Portis stopped at the 1, so again, very tough down here. Remember, at the end of the first half, they had a 1st and goal at the 1 and had to settle for a field goal. 3rd and goal now.
You know, I'm surprised again on the 2nd down play that they didn't go for the bootleg, because watch how they just converge over there. And when Clinton Portis starts one way, all those blue jerseys go there. Now again, we get back to that 3rd down situation. Now they aren't going to go for it. 2nd down is a lot better bootleg down than 3rd down.
Coakley, who made the last tackle, comes off in this package. 3rd down and goal. Gardner, the man in motion. Gardner, the recipient. Touchdown. Gardner to make it a 5-point game. And there are a lot of possessions left. You could possibly go for 2, but they're going to go for 1 right here. A 2-point conversion would make a field goal game. This makes it a 4-point game. They'll go for 1.
Yeah, they'll go for 1. Watch Gardner here. He was a motion man. Started going to the left, stopped, and then came back to this side, and he was wide open.
Chased by the rookie Reeves.
The Hogettes are back in the game.
Yeah, they're happier. Washington finally gets a touchdown. Hall boots the extra point with Tupa holding with 45 ticks remaining in the 3rd quarter. The Dallas Cowboy lead is trimmed to 14-10. The best of the NFL fight songs. Hail to the Redskins.
Set up that drive, Al. It was Marcellus Wiley roughing the passer. This was an incomplete pass.
Marcellus Wiley, who introduced himself as that dude. He ain't that dude in Parcells' eyes right now. That was very costly.
That dude whacked Brunell on the side of the head. That was a big penalty.
On a 4th down play. And after Hail to the Redskins, it's like a college atmosphere, which leads me, the perfect segue. I've only been doing this for 28 years. Miami against Georgia Tech, regional college football action this Saturday. Michigan against Indiana and Colorado against Missouri. Check your local listings. College football on ABC.
Well, you know, they always talk about the crowd and what it is, but you have to give them something to cheer about. You give them a touchdown, you give them a close game, a tight game, and they are going to stand up and cheer their Redskins. And you get that fight song going. They had that band, that marching band on the field before the game. I thought that was one of the all-time great sights.
Beautiful. 3-yard line. Jock Reeves. 30-yard line. Clinton Portis, 78 yards tonight. Comes over from Denver. What kind of a guy is
he? The one word that defines me, exciting. The world's greatest athlete, Muhammad Ali. I have pride at the movies. I will never eat squid or any of that gooey stuff. Ugh, it's nasty. If I chose my nickname, it would be the Road Runner. Eat, eat.
Clinton Portis, as Dallas has it now, and Testaverde throws, and the pass is incomplete, broken up by their #1 draft choice, who comes up hopping and limping. That's Sean Taylor, their #1 pick out of Miami, but he's going to gut it out and come back onto the field.
Well, we know that Matt Bowen is out of the game. There are other safeties, so Sean Taylor is going to have to gut it up if he can. Although he's going to come out now. I think that anytime that Keyshawn Johnson goes to the outside tonight, he's been covered. The stuff that he's been open on, I think, would be the slants and the deep ends, not the outside stuff.
Ryan Clark comes in for Taylor. So both starting safeties are out. Testaverde throws for Keyshawn. And right there, it's incomplete. Sean Springs is right there to break it up. 3rd and 10.
You know, that's that old screen that they do. They just have a one-man screen. You have your other receiver out there as a blocker. You have one receiver who's going to block right there, and then you try and throw it behind him. If the first receiver doesn't get that block, then what comes in behind him is going to happen right here. This place is going crazy.
90,000 rises 1. 3rd down and 10 from the 30-yard line. Pressure. And underneath, throwing into traffic. That's incomplete. Intended for Richie Anderson, but the pressure is on, unblocked, coming from the outside. 4th down.
You know, in a Greg Williams defense, if he can get you in 3rd and long, you are going to get a pressure defense. He's done it every game, and he's done it all night tonight.
Three and out, and just 20 seconds off the clock. Chad Morton will take this McBriar kick. Short, low. Takes a good bounce, though, 30-yard line. Morton back to the 36-yard line in the waning seconds of the 3rd quarter. In 7 nights, next Monday night, we go to Baltimore as we take a look at the Kansas City Chiefs coming into town with Priest Holmes, facing that man, Ray Lewis, Jamal Lewis, and the Baltimore Ravens with a mark of 2-1. Morton, meanwhile, is slow and hasn't gotten up yet after returning that kick, one of the top run back specialists in the league.
Didn't Jamal Lewis have like 180-some yards yesterday?
Yes, he did against Cincinnati.
He had 1 touchdown run of 75 yards. That's a heck of a combination. When you have a top running back like that and a good defense, that can win a lot of games in this league.
Well, 2000, when you think about how the Ravens won the Super Bowl.
It did, didn't it?
Yep. 186 yards. Injury right here. Let's see how Chad Morton got hurt.
See what he did. He's trying to twist, and he just makes a spin move, and as he makes a spin move, he really gets clobbered in the back.
Yeah, 4 blue shirts surrounded him.
And he was hit by all 4 of those blue shirts.
From all the angles, it's the left knee that they work on. Meanwhile, speaking of Jamal Lewis, here's what he did yesterday in Cincinnati. Finally breaking the game open in the 2nd half. Big run. Ravens win it by 14 points. The Chiefs, meanwhile, the interception returned by Coleman for the touchdown. And Houston upsets Kansas City. And so the Chiefs, who started last year with that long winning streak, are now 0-3. And in desperate straits right now and in dire need of a win next Monday night. First down now as they have Morton off the field. We'll check on him from the 36-yard line. It's Brunell. Look at that time after that fake. And then he throws the pass low intended for Gardner.
Brunell looks like he's starting to get a little tired, doesn't he?
He does.
I think that's part of it. You can say age and running around like he's been doing tonight, but not practicing all week either. I mean, as we said earlier, he really didn't practice until Saturday.
Earlier in the week, Gibbs thought there was really no chance of his playing. And then all of a sudden, he gradually got better. Skins with a 2-1 advantage in time of possession and run off 22 more plays than have the Cowboys. 2nd down and 10 from the 36-yard line. Good protection. Fires to the outside. Batted. Incomplete. Try to hit Sellers. Covered by Williams with 2 ticks now left in the 3rd.
Talking to Roy Williams last night, and he said that, he's going to cover the H-back. He was going to cover Chris Cooley, or he was going to cover Mike Sellers, and we see him here. He's covering Mike Sellers, and the reason I think they're doing that is to get Roy Williams not only covering that guy, but up close to the line of scrimmage to help against the run, to get that 8th man up.
3rd and 10. All-out blitz, but a good job of blocking, and then it's tipped and it's incomplete on what will be the final play. Tony Dixon tipped it. So it hasn't been elegant, but it's close. And who knows, we might be set up for a very dramatic finish. End of 3, Dallas 14, Washington 10. And Monday Night Football resumes after this message from our ABC stations.
Football, and he's like a mad genius. This is the way to start it.
Welcome to Monday Night Football.
Monday Night Football. Chiefs, Ravens, next Monday, 9 Eastern on ABC.
Al Michaels, John Madden, Michelle Tafoya. Here we go. Final 15 minutes of regulation. It begins with a punt. Dallas was 3 and out in 20 seconds. Washington went 3 and out in 15 seconds. So 6 plays run in the last 35 seconds of the period. Punt fielded 19-yard line off the foot of Tupa, and Dedrick Ward brings it back up to the 28. Injury update now. Let's go to Michelle.
Well, let's start with Sean Taylor, the rookie free safety from Washington. He has a strained left leg. His return is questionable. But as for Chad Morton, a little bit better news. He just took a hit to his left knee. They say he will play again tonight, Al.
And Taylor will play as well, because Taylor comes back into the lineup right now. The big safety who looks so good in preseason.
I think Chad Morton got hit in the whole left body.
Yeah. 4 different ways. There he is. 1st and 10, ball at the 28-yard line. Eddie George back in the lineup. Funny how they're using him. I mean, he was the workhorse for so many years for Jeff Fisher, John, and now he looks like he'll be a spot guy, a series here and a series there.
I know when I talked to Bill Parcells earlier in training camp, and he was talking about Eddie George, he thought that this is where he could really do him some good. That you know, he may start, but he wouldn't be that effective in the first half. But when you get to that 4th quarter where you have to run some time off the clock, you have to protect the lead like this situation, Eddie George can be very valuable for him.
Only 5 rushes tonight for 1.4 per pop, 2nd and 5. Fake toss. Testaverde chase, throws on the run, pass a little high off the right hand of Keyshawn Johnson. Ron Warner put the pressure on Testaverde, 3rd and 5.
It was good by Ron Warner to keep putting the pressure on Testaverde as he was rolling out here to this side, because he made him keep going and not be able to get set to throw this. Watch as the bootleg. Warner is coming here. Keep chasing, keep chasing, keep chasing. And because he did keep chasing, Testaverde couldn't get set.
Sprinting and trying to throw. 3rd and 5. Nobody in the backfield. Testaverde wide open down the sideline was Anderson. Vinny looks short and to the outside to try to pick up the 1st down, and then looks down the sideline, and there goes Richie Anderson beating Ryan Clark.
Yeah, that had to be a drop coverage. That's one of those things where you have it short and deep, and the short guy comes off him, and the deep guy doesn't get over there. Fred Smoot was up there, and he plays short, and he gets by the short guy, and the deep guy doesn't get over to that side. Ryan Clark didn't get over, but if they're going to do that, Fred Smoot has to hit the guy on the line of scrimmage.
28 yards on a 3rd down play. 1st and 10 now at the 39-yard line. Fake to George, go to the fullback. Anderson in that role. And Richie Anderson, another guy, and you talk about a spot guy, and Bill knows him all too well from his days with the Jets, the kind of guys we said before. Runs, receives, blocks, good guy in the locker room, very valuable.
You know, and that's the way Bill Parcells builds the team. You know, he has a guy for this like Eddie George to give him a little 4th quarter running. The other guy to go 2 tight ends. Richie Anderson to come in and catch a ball for him when he needs a 1st down. I mean, he has guys that play special roles in special situations.
Toss, Anderson, so he can throw as well. Left-handed, and Glenn reaches for it and catches it for the touchdown. Richie Anderson, what a series. Gets free down the sideline, then a run, and then a throw.
Just talking about guys that can do special things in special situations. Richie Anderson can run with it. We know that. He can block, he can catch, and he can also throw it. But see, flip it out here to his left. Now, he makes a good run. He puts the ball down like he's going to run it. He's a left-hander, so going to his left and throwing to his left is an advantage. Right there for Terry Glenn.
1st completion in 4 career throws for Anderson. Now, before the extra point, the flag is out, so Joe Gibbs probably thinking back to last week when we saw Terrell Owens score a touchdown on a play that wasn't challenged and would have been overruled. Figures, why not? Does he have possession, and does he have both feet in bounds? Well, the ball is starting to come loose.
And he has to have it all the way to the ground, too.
And he also, well, what hit first, the knee or the foot? Left foot down, right foot down. And if they rule that he had possession, he gets both feet in. Let's see if he has possession when the first foot comes down. Ball on his fingertips. We have to, it's like a compilation of replays here. You have to look at it one way from behind now. And if we can go back to that first one where we can see him, yeah, here it is, off the fingertips. Are they going to rule that control, possession and control?
I say that's control.
If they do, then both feet are in, and I would say the call will stand.
Because you can have control without the ball being all the way into your body. You just have both hands on it and control of it. That is control. He has control there, and he has both feet inbounds.
Sometimes the official will look at it, and if the ball comes off one hand, it would indicate that he doesn't have. You don't see that. There's some air between his palm and the ball. Both feet appear to be in. Remember, it's the ruling on the field that stands.
The receiver's left foot. He has control of the ball. His left foot touches in. His right foot in. Touchdown.
I say.
Washington is charged with a third and final timeout.
You have to have enough evidence to overturn.
That was a little dramatic the way Jerry Austin said it. He said left foot in, and now you think, oh, maybe the right foot wasn't in. And he goes right foot in.
They've all become storytellers.
Right. It's just control and both feet in.
Meanwhile, the downside to that, in addition to obviously giving up the touchdown, is they're now out of timeouts. Redskins had to use 2 on one drive earlier, so with 13 minutes to play, the only time they can stop the clock is at the 2-minute warning, and they're down by 10 going on 11.
You know, that was some catch we watched a number of times, but that was a heck of a throw by Richie Anderson. Running to his left, and you always have to know if a running back is right or left-handed.
Talk about a 5-tool guy in baseball. There's a 3-tool guy. Richie Anderson, he can run. He made 2 big receptions on that drive, and then a 26-yard touchdown pass, and the Cowboys are up 21-10. Terry Glenn goes all the way back with Bill Parcells to his days at New England. He caught 90 passes in his rookie year, and he's played 13 games, this being the 13th on Monday night. It's the first time he's been in the end zone. Thanks in good measure to Richie Anderson, another former Parcells charged with New York. A couple of yards into the end zone. Thrash.
What did Parcells call Terry Glenn when he had him up there with the Patriots?
Remember, you know, Bill gets his messages across in a lot of ways. He called Glenn she, and of course that made a lot of noise. But all of a sudden, you're my man, baby. You're my man. Through the years, a little split screen. 83, move ahead 3 more years. 88 on a Monday night game. 89, and now 2004.
2 of the all-time great ones.
Portis picks up 6. Notice that Parcells is not wearing the visor tonight. We were chiding him about it last week.
Yeah, he's definitely not a visor guy. He was saying something about the sun being in his eyes, but you can categorize all coaches into visor guys, cap guys, or nothing guys, and Bill Parcells is a nothing guy. Don't wear anything in your head. Joe Gibbs is a cap guy, always has been.
Yep, baseball cap. 2nd down and 3. 27-yard line. Portis fighting and does get the first. But then we came upon a picture today. Can you believe this? That one of the coaches who once wore a visor. Are you ready for this? Well, there's Parcells last week.
Doesn't look right.
Nah, that look just doesn't go. It doesn't go. But then we're going back in the archives. Well, there's Tom Landry. I mean, that's the man. He wears the hat. I can see wearing a Stetson. But how about Vince Lombardi was wearing a visor in one shot?
That kind of got me. Took me back for a second. But I remember him in a visor.
Yeah. 1st and 10, ball at the 31. Brunell throws, and it's caught by Rod Gardner. Inbounds to the 44-yard line. Jock Reeves with the tackle, so Washington trying to mount another surge, 24-yard gain.
They're trying to work on Jock Reeves, and you see him here. Reeves has him inside, and then he lets him get to his outside. Gardner gets to his outside shoulder, and then he just continues on, and Mark Brunell just leads him perfectly. It was funny last night. I was just thinking, Joe Gibbs was saying, I know Bill Parcells so well. Anytime he gets on the other side of the 50, he always has a trick play. Well, we saw it in Richie Anderson run pass.
1st and 10, 44-yard line. Portis, yeah, you think of Parcells, and you would think of him more as a conservative coach, but you're right. Last week, big play against Cleveland, fake punt. Dexter Coakley takes the snap, the up back.
Yeah, he always,
to Keyshawn.
He is pretty conservative. Within being conservative, and when you have a good defense, you always want to be conservative anyway. But within that, he always has trick plays. Whether it's in the special teams, in the kicking game, offense, defense, somewhere he is going to give you something when you least expect it.
2nd down and 5 from the 39. Brunell for the end zone and through the hands of Gardner. Rob Gardner is there looking for a flag, saying, look, my shirt's down. You see my shoulder pad. Terrence Newman grabbed it. Where's the flag?
He has pretty good evidence there. Here's Gardner out here, and you see him on Newman. Now, again, everyone likes to give Newman a little something and then go after him. He gives him a little something to the inside and then the outside, and looks like Newman did grab his shoulder. He's going there. He has him beaten right there. Here comes the arm and grabs the shoulder before the ball gets there. That is pass interference.
You've heard of the good non-call? That's the bad non-call. 3rd down and 5. It's Coles tackled just about at the 1st down marker by Newman, and that is a 1st down at the 34-yard line.
You know, Terrence Newman is one of those guys that is always going to jump anytime you stop, anytime you start to make a first move, and that's how you get beyond him. And you watch that left hand right there in his shoulder pad of Rod Gardner. And the ball was in the air. The ball hadn't gotten there yet. That's a definition of pass interference. Grabbing the shoulder before the ball gets there.
Washington has now been burned twice on a pass interference call against them and a non-call on that one. 1st and 10. And Mark throws it into the bench.
Well, Marcellus Wiley was right there, and he had to throw it away. He had a choice, either throw the ball away, which you can do once you're outside the tackle box. He either had to do that or just run out of bounds. And, of course, wisely, he threw that ball up.
Bill Parcells knows how to close out a game. Look at that. And this is the situation here. The only loss for Parcells that won in the 84-1 against the Cleveland Browns in 1985 when he had a 12-point lead. That's the only one in 85 games.
Because he always does it with a solid defense and then go to a running game late in the game when you have the lead.
2nd and 10. Oh, and Brunell gets smacked. The ball is loose. Scramble at the 50-yard line. Tony Dixon caused the fumble, but Washington recovers it. Tony Dixon came blitzing. Clinton Portis got back there to cover up on the football and keep possession for Washington after a big loss.
Tony Dixon comes on a delayed blitz. He's not up there. He doesn't show it. He lets the pass protection develop, and then boom, he comes right there. And I think Mark Brunell was trying to do a pump fake. He was going to pump fake and then come back and throw the ball. You see the pump? The minute he gets through with that pump, there was Tony Dixon right there.
That was a boom with all capitals. I mean, some have lowercase O-O-M. That all caps.
With a bunch of O's in between the B and the M.
3rd and 26 after a 16-yard loss, and Brunell goes down again in the arms of Greg Ellis. We talked about Ellis before on Monday night. 2 sacks tonight. When the lights come on, Mr. Ellis amps it up.
Yeah, Ray Brown, we talked about the 41-year-old right tackle. You're going to see him right here. Ellis just gets right on his outside shoulder, then gets even with the shoulder, and then gets beyond it. I'll tell you, but the big one was that Tony Dixon blitz. You know, that they say that Parcells always has a surprise. That was a defensive surprise.
So it was 4th and 32 on this punt, which Dedrick Ward runs back to the 15-yard line. 7:47 remaining in the 4th quarter. With the Dallas Cowboys on top of the Washington Redskins, 21-10. That's Patrick Ramsey who's loosening up because Brunell got clobbered on that 1 sack. So just in case, and there's Brunell.
He's been sacked 5 times tonight. Twice by Tony Dixon, twice by Greg Ellis.
Now Dallas 1st and 10. Eddie George picks up 4, and again, this is what Parcells has been doing for 2 decades. Gets the lead, uses the clock. Super Bowl that he won against Buffalo. No secret. He said, look, I've got to play clock ball. And he did. He had it for 40 minutes. Buffalo had it for 20 minutes. Trophy goes to New York.
Look at Vinny looking at the plays on his wristband. All the offensive plays for the Cowboys are numbered. So they just send him a number, like number 7. And then he looks on the wristband and he calls the play number 7. You have to have pretty good eyes. That's what his wristband looks like.
Looks like a NASDAQ chart. 2nd down and 6. Up to the 21-yard line goes Eddie George.
And the big thing when you start this is you have to get 1st down. So you want to run Eddie George, but he's responsible to gain, 4 or 5 yards so that he gets 1st downs. You just can't go run the ball, and go 3 and out, or leave yourself in this situation, which is, even though it's like 3rd and 3, this is still a passing situation.
George out, Anderson in on 3rd down. Long 3, short 4 from the 22-yard line. And Vinny goes to Darian Barnes, the fullback, for a 1st down. Chewing up the clock, eating up some yardage.
There's another role player. You need a player, so you put in 2 fullbacks. There's Darian Barnes right here. He's just going like he's going to be the lead blocker, and he just fakes like he's blocking, gets out in the flat, and picks up the 1st down. Richie Anderson made a good block on that. He was the tailback that time, and they faked to Richie Anderson and just sent Darren Barnes out to the flat.
Eddie George back in. Using the play clock. Eddie George to the 35. Here's Michelle.
I spoke to Jerry Jones this week, Al, and he puts a lot of faith in Bill Parcells, Bill, and he collaborate on personnel moves, but he had to be sold a little bit on Vinny Testaverde. Not a lot, but enough. He said that, he wasn't sure Vinny at his age could be a backup. Remember, at that time, Quincy Carter was still here. But Bill Parcells told him, look, if we protect Vinny, you're going to love his arm, you're going to love his accuracy. And Jerry Jones told me at that point he put his faith in Bill's history with Vinny, and the rest now is history, Al.
And so far, so good as Testaverde with 2 300-yard games, albeit one in a losing effort. To Keyshawn Johnson, and as we pointed out through the years, when you throw for 300 yards, you're about 50-50, except if you're Brett Favre, when you throw for 300, you're about 2/3. But here's Testaverde, and who would have figured? I mean, you've got Parcells going to Dallas. It looks like he's got Quincy Carter as his quarterback of the future, though he wasn't completely sold on him. You wind up with Testaverde and Eddie George and role players like Richie Anderson. They're going to be 2-1 in all likelihood.
And that's coaching, and that's what Bill Parcells does so well. I mean, he gets a guy and he said, here's my guy. Now he's going to do this, and I have another guy for this and another guy for this. And then Vinny Testaverde, just protect him. Don't throw any interceptions. Play strong defense. And this is Dallas Cowboy football.
3rd and 9. And they're forced to kick. The one thing about these owners, and, you know, Jones is a limelight guy, and I think the people in Dallas, for the most part, have come to appreciate him. And in Washington, it's been a story with Dan Snyder. I mean, just the persona and everything. So he gets a tremendous amount of criticism. But knowing these two guys, we know them quite well. They care very deeply about winning. There's no lip service. They love, love, love to win.
And they put their money where their mouth is. You know, with salary cap and all those things, you can't buy every player that's available, but you can buy a coach. I mean, that's one place where there's no salary cap. And I think both of these owners did a great job in that area.
Washington has it with 4:45 remaining in the 4th quarter, and the Dallas Cowboys are on top by 11 at FedEx Field in Landover, Maryland. Hogs are morose again. SportsCenter, ESPN follows the game. And next week we move to Baltimore for Monday Night Football. Mr. Larry Allen resting up as the defensive unit of the Cowboys goes to work, and Brunell goes to work himself, going deep for Gardner, and Gardner over his shoulder, looking back, makes the catch, and is out of bounds at the 15-yard line. 49-yard catch by Gardner, and you never know whether he's going to drop an easy one or make a terrific catch as he does here.
It's on Jock Reeves, but I'll tell you what Rod Gardner does. He leaves himself enough room to the sideline. You don't want to be right up against the sideline, because that's where the quarterback can throw the ball, between where you are and the sideline. He left himself about 3 yards so that Mark Brunell could throw the ball out there.
And he stops the clock. The clock stops on a play like that and doesn't get rewound until the snap, and you're inside 5 minutes in the 4th quarter. And Brunell stepping away, back to the end zone, caught by Gardner. Just like that, the Washington Redskins are right back in it.
And they have to go for 2 here.
No
They're
question.
11 down. They need an 8 and a 3. This is where you go into your 4-minute offense. The Redskins went into their 4-minute offense. Hit a big one to Rod Gardner, and then get out here to the left, still move around, and find them in the end zone.
Beautiful job of sidestepping Kenyon Coleman. So 2 plays, 64 yards. Brunell to the Hogs are so happy they're in double time there. To Gardner for the touchdown.
I think that touchdown woke him up.
Yeah,
Al.
I'll say.
You know, we always talk about a 2-minute offense. There's also a 4-minute offense, and I think the Redskins, being 2 scores down, started their 4-minute offense on this drill, on this series.
2-point conversion, trying to make it a 3-point game. And Brunell throws, and that is caught, and that's a conversion to Taylor Jacobs, who has not caught a pass tonight. Very, very quickly. It's a 3-point game. (21-18) Dallas. Twice now Dallas has moved out to 11-point leads, but Washington has now made it a 3-point game. 4:30 remaining in regulation. Dallas has 2 timeouts. Washington has none. John Hall to put it in the air. Taken at the 9-yard line. This is Rashard Lee who was back there. Out to the 29-yard line, and back we go to the replay.
Well, watch Terrence Newman here. He kind of gives up in the play, and that's what Mark Brunell bought. When he moves around there, Terrence Newman thinks that the play has to be over. And you see him back here, he just stops. And then he tries to go again. Rod Gardner's behind him. It's too late. And look here at the 2-point conversion. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The Cowboys only had 10 men on defense.
So the last time Dallas had it, they tried to milk the clock. Now it's a different story. Richie Anderson is the running back. And he's taken down after a yard or maybe two by Ronaldo Wynn.
And we talked about Greg Williams and how he likes to use pressure defenses. You know, in these situations right now, on both the second and the third down, he is going to come with pressure. So I think the Cowboys have to think that way. Think of something, a play that would deal with pressure.
Second down and 10. And just think about getting first downs, because all they need are a couple to take it all the way down to the end, because Dallas right now is in a position where Washington cannot stop the clock. Second and 10. A rough handoff as Testaverde and Barnes got too close to each other, and Barnes couldn't escape. Antonio Pierce is there up at the 25-yard line.
I would have thought that was a passing down, Al, because it was second and long, and by throwing on second down, you don't have to get the whole 10. Now when you go third and long, now you have to pick up the whole thing.
And not only do they run, but they run with Barnes, the fullback, not George, not Anderson, and not Lee.
Well, the Cowboys have had 11 third downs, and the Redskins have blitzed on 9 of them. I would think big time this is going to be a blitz.
Third down and 8 at the 30-yard line. And instead, they're a little conservative, but the pass is caught, and close to a first down is Dan Campbell, the blocking tight end. They love to throw to Witten. We saw that before for the touchdown. This time, the ex-Giant Campbell. Very close, and it is a first down, and that's going to take us almost to the 2-minute warning.
Yeah, and there's another Bill Parcells role player. You see, he blocks, he blocks, he blocks. He's been blocking all night. They expect him to stay in block, and then he just runs that delayed out. See, he just checks to the outside, and he's wide open. Now he just puts his shoulders down to get that first down.
One more snap before the 2-minute warning. First and 10. Eddie George is the running back. That was Campbell's first catch of the night. Eddie George flagged down, so that will, for the moment, stop the clock as George takes it up to the 41-yard line.
Prior to the snap, ball start. 76 offense, 5 yards. It's still first down.
First and 15.
I was going to say 76. That's Flozell Adams, the left tackle. That official on the line of scrimmage is the guy that calls that. Usually that doesn't happen on a running play. It's usually, you know, you're on the road, the crowd noise, usually on pass protection, not on a running play.
First down. I don't 15.
Flozell Adams didn't move. Someone else might have moved if that wasn't Flozell Adams.
Eddie George, and that'll take us to the 2-minute warning. So it's going to be second down, about 14. 2 minutes to go. Skins can't stop the clock, but they'll have to stop the Cowboys. 21-18 Dallas. ABC's Monday Night Football being brought to you by Rocky Mountain Cold Coors Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. DirecTV, NFL Sunday Ticket on DirecTV. Visit your local retailer for details. And Nissan, everything we touch, we shift, and everything we shift, we try to make better. Autotrader.com post-game show will follow the game. We'll be on the horse trailer. Recap tonight. Washington and Dallas. This was the interference call that went against the Redskins. Bad call, set up an Eddie George touchdown to make it 7-0. Vinny Testaverde floats one in the third quarter to Witten, the tight end. Then Mark Brunell gets hammered. He was roughed there by Wiley, and that enabled Gardner to pay off the drive with a touchdown. And then Richie Anderson into the arms of Terry Glenn to make it 21-10. But then Gardner, the call there goes against the Redskins, but Gardner was able to come back, catch 2 passes on that drive to make it 21-18. But the problem that Washington has, as we pointed out earlier, they had to take 2 timeouts on a third quarter drive. They had to take they were forced to lose a timeout with a bad challenge, and so they have none. And it's 2nd down and 15, and they can take 40-plus seconds off the clock here, the 40-plus to play, and then 40 more, and they give it to Eddie George. The play takes 5 seconds. They can run off another 40 and snap it at 1:15.
Yeah, and then the Redskins, as you say, they don't have any timeout. But if they can stop them after 3rd down and get them in punt, then the ball does, the clock does stop on change of possession.
And the way Testaverde is in consultation with Jerry Austin, they're just going to let the clock run all the way down, and then Vinny says giving a timeout at that point.
Yeah, because the Cowboys still have 2 timeouts.
So they'll use one here, get regrouped, run another play. So this will stop it right here at 1:15. So let's say you run a 5-second play plus 40 more seconds, so that's 45 seconds, and that's going to leave Washington 30 seconds, which would include the punt.
Right, and then when the punt is touched, then the clock will stop.
NFC East standings at the moment. Philly on top, 3-0. The Giants, after the opening day loss, have rallied to win 2, including yesterday's game over the Browns, and the winner of this game goes to 2-1. The loser, obviously, to 1-2. Who's our favorite for the horse trailer right now? Richie?
I think Richie Anderson. If the Cowboys go on and win this, I think it has to be Richie Anderson. That, you know, his blocking, his running, and then that big run pass that he threw for a touchdown.
On a drive in which he had 2 receptions. 3rd and 16. George conservatively up to the 38. Now they can let this, that took about 6 seconds, and run this all the way down again. Take a timeout if they choose, and that's what Testaverde's going to do. Again, he stands there with Austin, and he says, just stop it before the play clock runs out. We'll take our final timeout. We'll put the ball in the air. And what Washington's going to really need is a real good run back, which they may not even have the opportunity to get if Dallas, with McBriar, can punt it out of bounds.
That's why, you know, you look in the first, you know, in the 3rd quarter, in the 4th quarter, early in the 4th quarter, you see a timeout and you think it's just an innocent thing. But boy, when you get in this situation, aren't they important?
Huge. The first half, it really doesn't matter, but in the second half, it's tremendous. And the downside to a bad challenge, or a challenge with your heart instead of your eyes, which Washington did, was you lose the timeout.
What do you think Daniel Snyder would have paid for 3 timeouts now?
A king's ransom.
They were talking about Bill Parcells and role players and what he wanted Eddie George for. And the other thing about it, he doesn't fumble. So in these situations, you want to hand it to a guy that you know is not going to fumble it.
.29 seconds. Dallas off next week. It's their bye week. Redskins will go to Cleveland. They put the pressure on, but McBriar gets the kickoff. Not a bad one. Down to the 23. Down. They should have let it just bounce. I mean, I don't know why Davis stopped it. That ball would have bounced around for another 5 or 6 seconds.
Right. As long as the ball is bouncing, the clock doesn't stop until someone touches it down.
Davis was over eager, Keith Davis, because nobody was there. And even Bill says, come on, you just cost me 5 or 6 or maybe 7 seconds.
And that's when you're in it as long as Bill Parcells, as you think of all those things. I mean, a young player thinks that's nothing. To an old coach, that's a big thing. I think the Redskins are going to get a couple of plays here, so I think the first thing is you try and get about 20 yards. I would think that would be the first goal offensively.
Well, they have a good field goal kicker in John Hall. So you don't need the whole enchilada, but you need a good chunk of it. Brunell throws underneath. And then Gardner has to get out of bounds, and he does with 13 seconds. And now what you need, and to give Hall some sort of a chance, is to get it to about the 35-yard line. So you need about a 30-yard pickup to give him some sort of opportunity, legitimate opportunity.
Or if you can't get to the 35-yard line, at least if you get to midfield or a little beyond, you have a chance to throw a shot into the end zone.
And you got to get it out of bounds too. Brunell deep down the left side. Gardner goes up, makes the catch, but he can't get out of bounds. He cannot get out of bounds. He's tackled inbounds, and the game is over. If he could have gotten out of bounds at the 23-yard line, they would have had a 40-yard field goal opportunity. But he made the catch. He's double covered. He comes down inbounds. He's contacted by the defense, and that's the end of the game. As we said before, not elegant, but a pretty good ball game.
Rod Gardner has made, so he pushed off a little there, but he has made some great catches here tonight. And he just couldn't get out of bounds. He couldn't get control so that he could get both feet down and then get out of bounds.
Williams almost helped him out of bounds. There's Reeves, and then Williams pops him toward the sideline, but inbounds. He couldn't get out. It's a 46-yard gain, and for want of a timeout. And the Dallas Cowboys just have the Redskins number. 13 of the last 14 meetings won by the Cowboys. The Autotrader.com postgame show comes up next as Dallas beats Washington 21-18.
Welcome to the Autotrader.com postgame show. Here now, Al Michaels.
The Dallas Cowboys come into Washington and win it by a score of 21-18. Eddie George got Dallas on the board early after a bad interference call against the Redskins, put him at the 1-yard line, made it 7-0. Hall had a field goal to make it 7-3, and then Vinny Testaverde found the tight end Jason Witten in the third quarter to make it a 14-3 game. Rod Gardner had a big night. First of his 2 touchdown catches there to make it 14-10. Then really the play of the game, this little toss to Richie Anderson, who'd made 2 catches on this drive. His first career completion goes into the arms of Terry Glenn. Washington got back into it quickly with this touchdown. Brunell, 2-play drive to Gardner. And we don't want to beat a dead horse trailer, but clock management just killed Washington tonight at the end of the first half, when they didn't know whether to take a timeout or not, when they had to settle for a field goal. They used all their timeouts in the second half, and the game ends on this play where Gardner can't get out of bounds. They can't stop the clock. They can't attempt a 40-yard field goal, and they lose. Let's go to Michelle.
Well, Richie Anderson completes the first pass of his career, and it's for a touchdown. The first time in about 19 years a player on the Cowboys, other than the quarterback, throws a touchdown pass. What was going on that play?
Well, you know, it's a play we worked on all week. They sealed the edge for me, and, you know, Terry went down scot-free. I just tried to put as best touch as I could on it. And, you know, I'm thankful that one got in there.
You're inactive last week with a knee injury, and here Bill Parcells entrusts you with so much. What were you thinking during the game about the amount of activity you were getting?
Just try to make plays when I'm in there. You know, just try to make plays when I'm in there, keep these guys into the game, you know, offensively, and just, you know, execute each and every play. You know, anytime I get in there to get an opportunity to run the ball, catch the ball, block, just want to execute.
What a game. What does this do for the history of this rivalry?
Each time we play them, you know, whether, you know, we win the game, obviously we want to win. It's just huge, you know, to have these 2 type of coaches and to win this game. It's big for us.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Al?
All right, thank you, Michelle. 21-18. Onto the horse trailer goes Richie Anderson, and he did it basically, well, not just on that one drive, but that was so key. And, John, one other point that we should make here, some people might be thinking that was a helmet-to-helmet at the end of the game with Roy Williams and Gardner. You can go helmet-to-helmet once the receiver becomes a runner, which is what he was at that point. If he's trying to make the catch and you're trying to tackle him, you can't go helmet-to-helmet. But once he gets his feet down, as Gardner did, that's legal.
Right, and Gardner made a great play catching that in, and Roy Williams, by getting over there and making that hit so that he couldn't get out of bounds, was a big defensive play.
Good ball game. Week 3 is complete on Monday night. To Baltimore we head next week. Priest Holmes, Jamal Lewis, Ray Lewis, maybe Dion. Kansas City against Baltimore on Monday Night Football. 21-18, the Cowboys beat the Washington Redskins. Al Michaels, John Madden, Michelle Tafoya, and entire ABC Sports crew saying good night from Landover, Maryland.
ABC Sports thanks you for watching this presentation of the National Football League.
It's Week 3, and the undefeateds are looking to stay perfect. Jacksonville's tenacious D put to a Titan task. Is upstart Detroit really ready for the big time, or is Philly just too good? Vic and the Falcons should easily sort a 3-0 against the Cards, right? Maybe not. While Seattle hosts the struggling Niners in the Seahawks home opener. And what about the winless? The Chiefs in Texas. Wild last-second finish in KC. And two of the game's best gunslingers shoot it out in Indianapolis. All coming up next on NFL Primetime.
Primetime is presented by Miller Lite. Primetime is Miller time. And now, here's your host, Chris Berman.
Hello once again, everybody, and welcome to Week 3 of NFL Primetime. The first is Sunday of the fall. With me, as always, for 18 years is Tom Jackson. At Tom, we started 7 2-0s, 7 0-2s. Some definition.
Well,
today.
we said it. We're getting more separation between those top-tier teams
already
and the lower-tier teams in 3 weeks. 3 weeks into the season, we're already starting to see it.
You know what else I was interested in? There were a couple of games, a couple of teams playing their first big game in a while. That'd be a couple of 2-0 teams like Detroit and Jacksonville, and in some ways, Carson Palmer 1-1 with Cincinnati. Here we go. The Bengals, with everybody in this division, the AFC North, including Baltimore with Ray Lewis and Jamal Lewis at 1-1. But on this day, Baltimore showed why they were the defending champs. Look at Jamal Lewis. Hadn't had 100 the first 2 games of the year. Think that was going to continue? I think not. 32 yards, field goal, Baltimore. Ravens, Kyle Bowler. Well, he's learning on the job, but he learned when to take off, and touchdown. 10-0 Baltimore. Take another look. Some good blocking here, Baltimore.
Yeah, the fullback, Alan Ricard, his job to knock people off, get people to the end zone. Great job right there of blocking out 2 Bengals to help Kyle Bowler go in untouched.
And then Jamal Lewis, who at every time he played the Bengals 6 times before that, gotten 100 yards, but this time he takes the dump pass, gets a block, and then motors around, and look at the big fella run. And escapes another tackle, and wow, 46 yards on a little screen pass.
Double take on this one as well. Watch the block. Alan Ricard going to spring him for the last 30 of this run. Gets him to the outside. Jamal Lewis does the rest.
How would Carson Palmer perform? Well, yards-wise, okay, but boy, did Baltimore make it rough on him, especially their outstanding safety, Ed Reed. Reed read Palmer like a book. And then later on, it's Reed again with the score 17-6. The Bengals still in it early 4th. 3 picks today by the Ravens of Palmer. And then, in case you didn't think it was done, Nolo Contandre, Jamal Lewis against the Bengals. He could go all the way. 75 yards. Jamal Lewis immense, ran for 186, caught more balls, and again, a 100-yard game for him against the Bengals. Meanwhile, the defense, in addition to the 3 picks, pitched in 4 sacks, 2 of them by Terrell Suggs, and the Ravens go into Cincinnati, where they did not win last year, and win impressively by the count of 23-9. And in this game, we now know that Jamal Lewis, we told you, 7 for 7 consecutive 100-yard games against the Bengals, and that ties Terrell Davis, who did it often against the Seahawks when they're in the same division and the same
conference. Look, Baltimore may lack a couple things on offense, but they certainly don't lack a knock-em, sock-em running back. But they were just going to make the life for Carson Palmer just very difficult. And they get a lead, and they were going to suffocate him, but they do other things as well.
Well, defensively, they know that once they run the football, if they run it, they pressure you to try to score. And every team has staple plays. And for this Ravens team, their staple is the lead block with Ricard, and they cut it off a couple of the best blockers, one underrated, one not in the league. This is going to be the lead block by Alan Ricard. Off the backside, Edwin Mulatalo and Jonathan Ogden, the perennial All-Pro. They form the cutback seal for him to find. You see him look for it right away. Should go to the 6 hole. This time he finds it up the middle. Again, it's a cutback play that allows him to get out. And once he does, he has extraordinary speed for a big guy. Third play, watch it again. Left side, Ogden, Mulatalo. The play's going to start. Ricard with the lead block. You see him just looking for that daylight. If he finds it off that backside or off the middle, you see him begin the cutback lane. And when he gets going, he's one of these guys, I think, the classic running back. When he begins to run and has some success, he gets stronger and stronger as the game goes on. The 75-yard run actually comes later in the football game as you have worn down, and he has not.
You know what he's like? The middle linebacker, the great middle linebacker, which they have, Ray Lewis, because I think he punishes the defenders who get in his way more than they could possibly punish him. And that's the formula. The Ravens using it, and they win for the second time in 3 starts. When we return, Mike Vick off a 100-yard rushing game. Could the Falcons stay undefeated and go to 3-0 for the first time since the mid-'80s? The Tennessee Titans, off a loss last week, now have 2-0 Jacksonville in their house where they always beat them. How would Steve McNair do? And a battle of master against master. This game just tremendous. Brett Favre, Peyton Manning lighting up the board.
NFL Primetime, presented by Miller Lite. Grab yourself a great-tasting low-carb Miller Lite. And in part by UPS. Global shipping you can count on. UPS. What can Brown do for you? And the Toyota 4Runner Ultimate Fan Package, now on eBay. Welcome back to NFL Primetime, presented by Miller Lite.
Well, the Atlanta Falcons had not been 3-0 since 1986. And into town came Arizona. Certainly this would be easy, right? Well, that's why they play the games, even though Arizona has a long losing streak on the road. And here we go. At the Falcons, Mike Vick looking to lead the Falcons to a 3-0 start. And with a score set, Josh Tears of McCown loses the ball as he did all day. Ed Jasper, the friendly ghost, falls on it for Atlanta. McCown, that's his second fumble. So in the third quarter, it's a 6-0 Atlanta lead. Vick play fake. Calvin Pace pacing himself nicely. And the fumble, Vick gives the ball right back. Still 6-0 in this game, Tom, in the fourth quarter. So Arizona has a chance. Tears of McCown. Brady Smith, who had the touchdown last week, forces another fumble.
Yeah, Brady Smith's circle coming from the backside, doesn't get touched, and you as a quarterback, boy, you got to know that clock in your head, the time's running out, get rid of the football, and again, ball out.
So in the red zone, another turnover. Off the turnover, Vick, and guess what? It's Arizona says, wait a minute, we want to win this thing. Adrian Wilson with a pick, and so defense gives Arizona another chance. Now, McCown on the sideline. And Sean King, the former Tampa Bay Buck, hit at quarterback. 3rd and 3 at the 47. King, oh man, drilled by Patrick Kearney. And now with the score 6-3 with 2.5 to go. Here they go, the end around to Carl the Truth Williams. First down, but it's a fumble. Oh man, Arizona's fumbled 4 times. Next drive, just before the 2-minute warning, Vick. And this is what he can do, Tom. And then, whoop! And then look at the speed, gets a block right there, and what? Goes back toward the middle, hits over the 40, and then, well, he runs them out of any serious danger. 58-yard run. It's not the most scintillating victory in Atlanta Falcon history, but 3-0 for the first time in a long, long while, 86. And Atlanta beats Arizona 6-3, despite the fact that Arizona sacked Vick 5 straight times. There were 9 fumbles in the game, 7 turnovers all told. 5 plays reviewed. There were no touchdowns. Not exactly one that you'd put in the time ball, but Arizona's losing streak now 15.
Yeah, you take the win, Boo.
Yes, you do, and you're 3-0. You don't have to apologize. Browns at G-Men. And on the 8-yard line, the Giants in business at home. Tiki Bear, Tiki Barber, and he'll run to the corner. And did he get in? They call it a touchdown, Tom.
Well, it's a touchdown because the official said, but if you can look right there, the knee is down, the ball's not yet across. We take two different looks at it, but you get that call by the official, it's a touchdown.
106 yards running for Tiki. Jeff Garcia sacked. Michael Strahan arrived early in the pocket and made the sack. Then, same drive for the Browns, William Green. Oh, Strahan hurt on this play, and so he's going to be looked at on the sideline. But at the same drive, Strahan back in, and he got the memo. 5 minutes early during a fumble, and he falls on it. Strahan, 2 sacks, 2 fumble recoveries, and a new watch. Third quarter, Giants driving. Kurt Warner to very well-dressed. Oh, man, it's a Monty Toomer diving catch. A perfect toss and a perfect catch. Then, second and goal. Watch Warner here. This is Kurt Warner with 1 career rushing touchdown. Boom, make it 2. It looked close, but first, one thing, I like the way he switched the ball to left hand.
He switched the ball to get it as close as he could to the goal line. An outstanding run by Kurt Warner.
It was close, but he was in. It put it the pylon, 20-3 Giants. Garcia to Quincy Morgan, Gabriel Wilson. Nailed for a personal foul on the hit. But the Giants, at home for Tom Coughlin, beat the Browns 27-10. Kurt Warner threw for 286 yards. We told you about Strahan's day. They had 4 sacks. All told, the Giants, well, restoring some old roar. Wasn't quite Sam Huff bottling up Jim Brown. But look, Kurt Warner hadn't won in 3 years. He's now won 2 straight weeks, Tom, and no picks, no picks, no picks. Maybe there's he needed to change his scenery after all.
A couple of things. He's being careful with the football. I think that anything that was wrong with his hand has had a chance to heal up. He's got the tight spiral back, the presence on the field. He's showing great leadership with this ball club. And I think that when we thought initially, boy, Eli Manning is going to secure the spot in this lineup at some point this year, Kurt Warner basically brought in as a Band-Aid for this offense. But if he continues to play the way he's playing now, you're going to have an awful hard time pulling him out of the lineup. And then the other thing, the 5-minute rule. We have fun with it. But Tom Coughlin came in to discipline this ball club. Right. You look like a more disciplined professional ball club, and you now have won 2 straight. Take the wins. Show up 5 minutes early, do what the coach says.
You know what? They lost every game the last half of the season last year. They're winning now, whatever it takes. The Giants look like a ball club. They look like a ball club. When we return, Priest Holmes with the Chiefs look like a ball club. Offensively and defensively, battle of 0-2s against Houston. A must-win for Kansas City. Team with a 13-3 record last year. And Randy Moss, off of Monday night's disappointment. How would he do in the divisional rivalry against the Bears?
Inside the Numbers, brought to you by Visa, proud sponsor of the NFL. Get ready for the game.
After a 9-0 start last year, the Kansas City Chiefs going into today had played 10 games and won 4-6. That includes their playoff loss to Indy, giving up 175 yards a game rushing, almost 30 points a game on defense. Not good. Dick Vermeil and the Chiefs trying to avoid an 0-3 start. First one for that franchise if it happens since 1980. Marv Levy, young Marv Levy head coach. Trent Green, Chris Horn, his first TD with Chiefs. And the Chiefs lead Houston also 0-2, 14-6 early third quarter. Then Trent Green. So now it's like the salad days. I know we didn't score much in the first half, but Green to Tony Gonzalez. First down, 3rd and 7. Trent Green. Plenty of time to Giannis Morton inside the penalty kick area, just short of the goal line, down at the 2, but on 2nd and goal, about to go up 2 touchdowns, the floater, Marcus Coleman picks it off, and he could go all the way. That would be 102 yards on the interception return. Game now on, despite the great effort by Priest Holmes at the end. Tom, 102 yards.
Yeah, and take another look. You can see the linebacker on Gonzalez, and he's going to see him beat the linebacker. He doesn't see Marcus Coleman fading to the outside, and what a great pick and a timely pick for Marcus Coleman.
And they get the 2-point conversion. It's 14-0, early 4th. Priest Holmes. This is what he does. Up the middle, 134 yards, and he passes the Nigerian Nightman. Christian Okoye is the all-time leading rusher in franchise history. Trent Green, Jason Dunn in the end zone. Well done, 21-14. Now under 7 minutes to go. David Carr. Watch this catch by Andre Johnson. Are you kidding me? Take another look by the second-year wideout.
Well, you need a lot of skill and a little bit of luck, and Mr. Johnson's going to get both. Going over the top, just reaching back behind him. Ball sits right in his lap, has the presence of mind to cradle it in.
And now, second and goal. It's a 9-yard loop to Jabbar Gaffney, usually known for the sky hook. This time it's a touchdown. We're tied at 21. And the Texans, with a minute to go, it's Carr to Derek Armstrong. Come on, Kansas City, play some defense. You're an Arrowhead. He loses the ball, but guess what? That's the
down.
ball.
He was down.
So, he's down. 7 seconds to go. A 49-yard attempt. Dick Vermeil can't look. Neither can Carr. Neither can the Texans. Chris Brown, 49 yards. Good. And the Houston Texans have come into Arrowhead, where in the regular season the Chiefs were undefeated last year. What a win for this young team. What a drive by Carr and company, a couple of them. And what a stunning loss for the Chiefs. 24-21. And Kansas City, which won the first 9 games last year, has now started this year 0-3. And, all of a sudden, we talked about a lot of the problems this morning. Now, of course, in crunch time, the defense did not clamp down. But look, when you're relying on 30 points a game
and that's
to
the
score
problem.
time, and now they get 21. That's a narrow line to walk, and they're not walking.
We talked this morning on Countdown about the addressing of or not addressing of personnel on the defensive side of the ball. Think about the way they won last year. They scored those 30-plus points that Boom is talking about, and that's how they got the 9-game winning streak going. They also had contributions from Dante Hall in terms of special teams. When those things don't happen, this is the situation that you find yourself in. And I don't like the idea that Tony Gonzalez and Priest Holmes are your best wide receivers. I think that you have to have people who can make things happen at the wide receiver position when everything in this league has been designed for you to score. And I think all of those things visible, including the sloppy defense at the end of the football game.
Yeah, I mean, this is the best defensive ever point-wise. 86 points now allowed in 3 games, and you're right. Bullrichter got hurt, but I mean, all of a sudden, things completely different in Kansas City, and they're going to be scratching their heads because they go, next Monday night to Baltimore? It'll be tough to score on them. So we shall see when we return on this edition of NFL Primetime. Mark Bulger, Rams, at home against the Saints. These teams always light up the scoreboard. And T.O. and the 2-0 Eagles at the 2-0 Detroit Lions, who would salute. Saints at the Rams. They used to be in the same division, and in 5 games between Mike Martz's Rams and Jim Haslett's Saints, they lit up the scoreboard, averaging more than 50 points a game. Deuce, no use. McAllister sitting out. Mark Bulger. If I only had a great receiver like Torrey Holt. 7-0, the Rams. 10-3 in the second quarter. Hand off to Aaron Schwarzenegger. He's in there instead of Deuce, and look at him run. It's tied at 10. And then in the fourth quarter, with the score 17-16 with 10 minutes left, Aaron Brooks, Jerome Pathon. What a seam pass, Tom. 38 yards inside the 10. Now it's second and goal at the 9. Brooks to Joe Horn. He dials it in somehow. Touchdown.
Outstanding concentration by Horn, but you're going to see something you won't see often. That's Aeneas Williams, future Hall of Famer, letting the ball go through his hands.
And now under 2 minutes to go. Mark Bulger, can he lead the Rams? They're down 22-17. That's Dane Looker. Good-looking play for a first down. Bulger to Isaac Bruce. And then, with 36 seconds to go, if I only ran up the middle of the field for the winning touchdown. They get in there, 19-yard run. They get a 2-point conversion. Mike Martz, they've won it, 25-22. But with the beer man back there, we're going to squib it. And then Will Smith up past the 40-yard line. And then here comes Brooks. So the squib kicks allows the Saints to be in position. There's the beer man receiving. Michael Lewis, 25 yards. John Connie getting ready. Brooks to Boo Williams down to the 20, setting up with seconds left. John Carney, 38 yards. Good. We're tied at 25. We're going to overtime. Rams win toss. Go for it on 4th and 1. Make it, but eventually have to punt. Then Brooks to Williams, 17 yards. Then John Carney, Sheila McRae, Audrey Meadows. Good night, everybody. It's good. And Carney's 2 field goals give the Saints a win at the Rams. 28-25 in OT. What is going on in the Show Me State? Kansas City and St. Louis, regular season, both undefeated at home. Both of them have lost these games at home. It's a tough day on I-70, Tommy. And the Rams scratching their heads.
Yeah, and they will be for a while. You know, this team, again, they score points, they play all right defense. There's something wrong when it comes to finishing the job, especially at home.
Well, Bolger threw for 358. They also had, they allowed 5 sacks. And so, we talked about some of those teams playing their first big games. Byron Leftwich, quarterback Jacksonville. Jacksonville Jaguars, 2-0. Going into Tennessee, who last week lost to the Colts after they had a chance to put them away. So the Titans figuring, boy, we used to sit on this team. We've never lost to them in the Coliseum. Here's our prime cut, and the Titans try to remember. Steve McNair trying to tie Warren Moon most wins at quarterback in franchise history. You're looking to like this one. It's a military play. Byron Leftwich, George Reister. Left, right, you're right. Touchdown. 7-6 Jaguars. Third quarter, a defensive struggle. Steve McNair. He's going to take this is what he does, Tom. Chris Brown runs well, but the tough yards are often still McNair. Same drive, 3rd and 2. How about this? McNair, well, nobody open. Makes a tough run for a first down, but watch the replay. Marcus Stroud hits him, and he's going to get a bruised sternum.
Yeah, right there. You know, we'd like to see him slide, get the yards you need. Today, he had to go get some tough yards, make sure he had the first down. Stroud gets the hit on him, and, you know, he's showing the wear and tear right there.
5.5 minutes ago, Chris Brown, who became the first after 17 games to get 100 yards against the Jaguars, touchdown. He had 101. They lead 12-7. The Titans are going to go for 2. And McNair hurting, overthrows, Derek Mason, and so it remains a 5-point game. You see why Jeff Fisher went for it? They would have been up 7, not 6. It's 12-7. McNair takes the pads off. More on that in a moment. So, Byron Leftwich, who again, the Jags only have 7 points on the board, but that's a dart. Jimmy Smith, 15 yards. Then he uses Fred Taylor, bounces outside, 13 yards, first down. 4th and 1 at the 30. Greg Jones, it's a first down. Jeff Fisher says, wait a minute now. We saw Leftwich lead the Jags to a winning score in the last play of the game in Buffalo. Steve McNair obviously concerned. 46 seconds ago, Leftwich. Incomplete to Jimmy Smith, but Lamont Thompson called for pass interference, Tom.
Yeah, and you take another look at it. Looks like he's trying to get over for the ball. Great job of Jimmy Smith doing that lean forward, drawing attention to the play.
And Tennessee rising up and stopping Fred Taylor. Tick, 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 tick. Fred Taylor, just seconds left. He's in. The Jags lead 13-12. Jack Del Rio says, of course, we go for 2. Leftwich. Everybody has their favorite Williams at receiver, it seems. Reggie Williams. They all wear number 11, too. Catches it. It's 15-12. And so, we've seen the Music City Miracle. But this will answer the question if Drew Bennett is Frank Wycheck, and if any other Titan is Kevin Dyson. The Music City, not going to work. Not going to work. And the Jacksonville Jaguars, who, as we said, 2-9 in their last 11 against this Tennessee team. It's a new Jags team. They go into the Coliseum and win 15-12. And we should say that in this, Steve McNair, bruised sternum, x-rays negative, but he is in the hospital overnight. So, again, he's battered. We hope he'll come back. But meanwhile, the Jaguars, who have scored 35 points in 3 games. Oh, by the way, they've only allowed 28, which means defense must be doing it, and a knack at the end for Leftwich.
Absolutely. We talked about the guys up front with the Ravens, the offensive line, and Jamal Lewis with the Jaguars. We want to talk about the guys up front on the defensive side of the ball and how they keep people from being able to run. You heard Chris say Chris Brown did get 101 today, but they are going to make it tough on you. The 2 defensive tackles, Marcus Stroud and John Henderson, are going to get the penetration up the middle of the field. They make sure that they make the quarterback uncomfortable, and they allow everybody else to do their job. Again, Stroud and Henderson once again. Here they come. Look at the pressure. Look at the pocket start to collapse immediately. Then the middle linebacker, Mike Peterson, is able to get through and get the sack. And a third play again, it's the same two guys. These are two huge men, Stroud and Henderson up front. You see them get the penetration. Everybody works off of them. The lane out to the outside, they have do a good job of sealing to the outside. And as long as you have two guys like that, and we've seen it in the past, regardless of the two guys who it is, Ted Washington is one of those guys wherever he goes around the league. Right. But when you have two guys like that and they can seal off the run, stop the run, boy, can you do a lot of things and play a lot of games scheme-wise with your defense.
Well, Jacksonville, we said we'd know more after 2 weeks with them. Win at Tennessee, home next week to Indianapolis. But
that's a test.
The Jags are 3-0.
That's right.
When we return on NFL Primetime. LaDainian Tomlinson, boy, San Diego rarely wins in Denver. Would this be a day for an upset? Marty would certainly like to win in that building. And the Lions. We know Roy Williams, this rookie, has plenty of game, but the Eagles might have had a little more.
Chevrolet Fantasy Ticker is brought to you by the new Chevrolets. 10 new cars and trucks in 20 months. An American Revolution.
Sunday Night Football, actually a pair of Sunday night games. One had to be moved to later because, again, a hurricane hitting Florida, Hurricane Gene. So Pittsburgh at Miami became a night game, and the NFL announcing they'll donate $1 million to the United Way Disaster Relief Fund to assist the hurricane victims in Florida. The regular ESPN Sunday night game, more subplots in an Agatha Christie novel. It's the Tampa Bay Bucks of John Gruden at his old team, the Oakland Raiders. Rematch of Super Bowl a couple of years ago. Scott Van Pelt with highlights of both.
The Bucks and the subplot's pretty obvious, I would think, in this one. Warren Sapp, you know where he used to play, right? And then there's John Gruden, right? Okay, so we're straight. Everybody knows what's going on here. First quarter, Raiders down 3-0. Third and goal, Rich Gannon trying to get in himself. Oh, helmet-to-helmet hit with Derek Brooks, and that's not a fight Gannon's going to win. X-rays negative on Gannon's back. Second quarter, we're tied at 6. Brad Johnson to Charlie Garner. There's some history here in Oakland for him. He goes down, sprained right knee, doesn't come back. Under 2 minutes left in the half here, and we're tied at 6. And still, Kerry Collins came in, played well. Jerry Rice makes a spectacular one-handed grab, led to a Raider TD. 13-6, Raiders at the half. They're up 23-6. Collins to Jerry Porter. Jerry Porter makes an unbelievable grab. Led to another touchdown, 30-6. Then Tim Brown, 176 straight weeks with a catch. Rice has ended a week ago. His streak, Bucks' first offensive touchdown in 12 quarters. That's his 100th career touchdown, but the Raiders win big. Steelers and Dolphins pushed back tonight due to Hurricane Gene, or what was left over, and it turned into, as you might expect, what you'd get if you tried to play with a hurricane in the area. Just an absolute deluge for a period in the first and second quarters. How are you going to play football in this? I mean, it's one thing when you're goofing around the neighborhood. It's another thing entirely when it counts on an NFL season. That's Merrill Hodge. 1989, these two teams hooked up in one of the wettest games ever. Back to this one, Bill Cowher. If there's a coach in the NFL that was built for a game like this, it's Coach Carr. Dolphins down 3-0. Lamont Gordon gets lit up by Chris Hope. Ouch. Gordon, you got to give it to him. A gamer, played with a 102-degree fever, but he gets just jacked up. Gordon left with a shoulder injury. Dolphins down 3-0. A.J. Feely, weather conditions conspiring against him here. Jay Fiedler looking on. In this instance, maybe saying better you than me. Marlins, incidentally, have a road game Monday, which is a good thing because the grounds crew was really tested here trying to make this field playable. Third quarter, they're down 3-0 are the Dolphins. Fourth and inches, Feely goes nowhere. Dolphins had 169 yards total. Wannstedt says, oh, what are we doing? No good. Finally, the Steelers at 6-3, and Ben Roethlisberger didn't have a great game, but does throw a touchdown pass here to Hines Ward. Play got reviewed. It was a touchdown. Roethlisberger and the Steelers win. The Dolphins 0-3. Don't miss Sunday Night Football next week at 8:30 Eastern on ESPN. A reeling Rams team looks to get healthy when they take on the 49ers. It's preceded by NFL Primetime and followed by SportsCenter. Now let's go back to Boomer at NFL Primetime.
The only game between 2-0 teams on this day, the Philadelphia Eagles against the surprising Detroit Lions. They're the Eagles up their Monday night win, first road game of the year in Mooch. Steve Mariucci has the Lions playing good ball, and there's Gumby. No, it's Terrell Owens. Early on. How about McNabb buying time? L.J. Smith and the big tight end, 25 yards, first down. Then Donovan McNabb, a sneak, 7-0 Philadelphia, putting the hammer down on the young team early. 3rd and 10 Detroit. Joey Harrington. And it just looks like, well, it's a fumble. Roderick Hood falls on it. Harrington just not careful with the ball, and that opens it up for McNabb. And what does a good team do, Tom, after a young team turns it over?
Right after
to the jugular, right?
Right after him.
First play to T.O., 29 yards, just like that, 14-0 Philadelphia. T.O. with the salute, and they would salute their little back from Villanova, Brian Westbrook. Look at he takes the hit, bounces back, and goes forward 23 yards all the way to the 1. And that sets up McNabb to one of his 3 tight ends. That's Mike Bartram.
And he does that as well as anybody in the league, that throwing back behind you. They say it's a cardinal sin, but he's able to do it and complete it, especially down in the red zone.
We're going to make a judgment, Tom, for Detroit. Roy Williams, their rookie receiver, another guy wearing number 11. This just in, he's good. We're convinced. Williams, 18-yard catch on 13 and 9, and then in the prevent defense in the last 2 minutes of the half, Harrington to Williams, and then Harrington to Williams, touchdown. Williams, 63 yards of catches on the drive, 21-7 Philly at the half. But back we go, Philadelphia. Did they let Detroit get close? No, they did not. Playing like a team that understood the big picture. McNabb to T.O., 55 yards, sets up a David Akers field goal from
Louisville.
Good, 30-7 Philly. Lions not done. Guess who they go to? Harrington, Roy Williams, watch this. Oh, and then forget it. And then it's a touchdown. 29 yards, they go for 2, no good. Lions, another shot to try to get close. Ty Streets incomplete in the end zone as Harrington, and Philadelphia put Steve Mariucci's Lions. Well, look, he knew that it would be uphill, and it was. Philadelphia, very impressive. 30-13 they win. Donovan McNabb threw for 356 yards, 6 balls to T.O., 8 different Eagles caught passes, 7 of them caught for 2 and more. Big picture of this game, Tom. This was a team, Philadelphia, on a short week on the road that said, you know what? Detroit is a very capable team.
Up and coming.
Let's get on them. Let's get on them early on offense, on defense, and even on special teams. Detroit had 2 touchdowns the first 2 games. Harbaugh's heroes did a job until late in the game, too. So they knew, let's take them out of the game early. They did it.
And the Philadelphia Eagles have a different look to them. And maybe T.O. is the guy who has keyed all of this. He came in. He's made all the other receivers better. He certainly is a new toy to Donovan McNabb. And the one concern I had about defensively, how would they play the run? Well, here's the way it's starting to play out. It's starting to play out as we score a lot of points. Therefore, you can't run the ball a lot. You have to start throwing the football in order to keep up with us. So this one thing that we might not do really well won't be that bad because we're going to put the pressure on you to do certain things that you've never had to do against us.
Very impressive.
Yes,
Detroit
absolutely.
a little over their heads at this point against Philadelphia, and the Eagles made them think that, but Detroit's going places, and we know Philadelphia is going places once again. Here we go. San Diego at Denver, and Marty Schottenheimer, don't have to tell him about what life is like in Denver when he comes in with the squad. Jake Plummer to Rod Smith, and in the first few minutes of the game, it's 32 yards. Same possession, Bronx on the 16, and Plummer to Smith again, and he's going to cut upfield and touchdown. 7-0 B-Men. San Diego has a very special player, LaDainian Tomlinson. Al Wilson, though, was on the patrol.
I said that Al Wilson, I thought, would have a good day. He loves to play the interior run, and LaDainian loves to run the ball inside.
Next play, the tricky Chargers. Tomlinson going to throw it. Breeze as receiver. What a play! 38 yards, even a stiff arm from the QB. You know, Denver is, won 3 in their last 21 San Diego has in that building. But all of a sudden, Quentin Griffin fumbles on a catch. Chargers recover. Quentin, 12 rushes, 7 yards. Drew Brees, quarterback, said, wait, we got a game here. San Diego's within 13-10, second quarter. Now, here we go, 4th down Bronx. Micah Noor punts it. Kasim Osgood gonna run into him. And roughing the kicker. That's hurt too. Roughing the kicker. And so the Broncos get a first down. It's 4th and 9. It's Ichabod Crane. No, it's Ashley Lillay, the headless horseman. It's a touchdown. Plummer throws it. They beat Quentin Jammer, who had a bad ankle, and the Broncos tested it here.
Yeah, and Ashley Lillay really has started to catch the football the way they thought he would earlier in his career. He has come on to be the receiver that the Broncos always thought he would.
So the Broncos win at 23-13, despite the fact, Tom, they didn't run very well.
37 yards rushing for the Denver Broncos. Certainly a game that they needed. They win it at home, but you would not want to see that stat or that kind of stat repeated, a similar stat repeated very often this year for the Denver Broncos.
Here's what Mike Shanahan will like, holding Tomlinson only 60 yards.
Absolutely, rush defense.
For almost 300 yards. San Diego, though, game, but in Denver, it's uphill for them. When we return, Randy Moss and the Vikings at home against the Bears, and the fun game of the day. And you knew it would be. Peyton Manning, Brett Favre putting on a superior show in the Colts home opener at Indy.
Welcome back to NFL Primetime, presented by Miller Lite.
The Seattle Seahawks have already won 2 road games this year, as many as they've won all last year. This is their home opener where they're undefeated last year. Sean Alexander and the Seahawks toying with the San Francisco 49ers. A 2-yard plunge for him. 10-0 Seahawks first quarter. Still first, Ken Dorsey. Cedric Woodard in his face. It's a sack, it's a fumble, and it's a Seahawk ball. Seattle now at the 4. Matt Hasselbeck, play action. Sean Alexander wide open. 17-0 Seahawks. Second quarter now. Todd Peterson lining up a field goal from 47. Doink! It's no good. Why did we show it? We'll tell you in a moment. Just over a minute to go in the second quarter. Alexander. He turns the corner. Alexander's ragtime band. Second time in 3 games. He's got 3 touchdowns in 1 game, Tom. 24-0 Seahawks. Dorsey to the end zone. But Ken Hamlin is there in the double coverage to make the pick. And the Seahawks slice and dice. Their old coach, Dennis Erickson, 34-0. Why is the shutout significant? Because for the first time since October 9th, 1977, 420 games, the proud 49ers have been shut out. On that day, neither Scott Bull nor Jim Plunkett could lead them into the end zone. Tom, what's going on in 2 straight weeks?
Wow, this is different. You look at a week ago, Jerry Rice's 20-year reception streak broken. Now they're shut out. First time in 27 years we've seen the end of those 49ers as we knew them.
Oh, by the way, the headline, Seattle has a chance to run away with this division. Brian Urlacher out Sunday, pulled hamstring, first time in his NFL career. He's missed a game. Randy Moss, Vikings, ready for the Bears, Tom. And the Bears are ready to get physical with them.
Well, R.W. McQuarters got Randy Moss's attention, and this is what happens when you get his attention. He comes out and he begins to make plays. There's the first catch against McQuarters in tight coverage. Then down around the end zone, Randy Moss is telling the quarterback, throw me the football. So the lesson learned here, just play football, stay away from Randy Moss and getting him excited about playing.
And that's his friend who he comes to the games with, and he gives him a ball at 7-6 Vikings. Meanwhile, Morton Anderson, 2 field goals. Oh, by the way, he's now played 341 NFL games, breaking the record held by George Blanda. Congratulations to Morton Anderson, forever young. Dante Culpepper, about it. 44 yards to Randy Moss. That catch.
And what a great catch. He actually stopped, reached out and caught the ball so that he could have a chance to make a move on the defense.
Big day for Ontario Smith, bouncing out, bouncing in, running almost all the way to Manitoba. Does Ontario. 94 yards rushing, 104 yards receiving, setting up a Culpepper run, 17-6 Vikes. It's 29, fourth quarter. Rex Grossman, the Bears hung with this, Tom. This is a good-looking player, Justin Gage. Down to the 1. Next play, big game for Thomas Jones again. Jones 110 yards rushing, 71 receiving. Bears touchdown. They missed the 2-point conversion, 20-15. Vikes. First play, though, back for them. Culpepper to Nate Burleson. What? I'm not down. What? I'm fast. 63 yards. Culpepper threw for 360. Later in the drive, 3rd and goal. Culpepper, Moss, Flair, touchdown. Guess what? 2 balls in the same play.
That's great. That's great.
27-15, the Vikes. But the Bears aren't done. Rex Grossman, scrambling. Can they get in? Loses the ball. Grossman, unfortunately for him and the Bears, had to be carted off. Sprained knee. It looked worse for a while. We thought something might be broken. He didn't around to see the Bears challenge. Ball broke the plane. It was a touchdown for Lovie Smith, so it's 27-22. Bears have a chance here, but Jonathan Quinn, the medicine man, sacked by Kevin Williams, and the Vikings win 27-22. Culpepper, Ontario Smith, Moss, some of the stars. Minnesota doing what they usually do at home and score points.
Yeah, outstanding balance, and boy, is Dante Culpepper putting up the numbers thus far this year.
And now, for the most fun we've had in a while, Brett Favre and the Green Bay Packers, 192 straight starts. Peyton Manning with 99 straight starts. You're not going to catch him. Not going to catch him anytime soon. Meanwhile, Manning and Favre, he might catch him in the touchdown pass on this one day, because Manning to Reggie Wayne, the stately Wayne Manor. Colts in their home opener. Watch Manning. Back, Packers blitz. Someone's going to be open. Rodney Harrison, 19 yards. Manning. Reggie Wayne. Boy, has he become a big-time number 2 receiver. 36 yards, 7-0. We're not even 2 minutes in the game. Packers trail 7-0 now. Favre. Donald Duke and the driver. 14 yards. That sets up. Brett. Javon Walker. 36 yards. Game on. 7-7. We're only, what, just 6-7 minutes in the game? Both have thrown touchdown passes. Peyton and Marvin talking on the sideline. Well, what could it be about? Maybe this. Oh, man, 28 yards, 14-7 Colts. But right away, first Packer play from scrimmage. Favre, game still on. This is shades of Namath and Unitas in 1972. 79 yards, game time at 14. Next position, Colts. Manning, Harrison, 12 yards. Then Manning, play action to Edgerrin, to Wayne, 16 yards. That sets up Manning to Brandon Stokely, touchdown, 34 yards, 21-14.
And you find Manning here reading the blitz. He knows that he's going to get single coverage with Stokely on the safety, runs inside, breaks it out. No team has better timing in that one-on-one coverage than Manning and his wide receivers.
Second quarter. By the way, it's just the second quarter, we should say. It's already 21-14. Edgerrin James, first running play in the game, and it took a quarter. Manning, Stokely, and in the 2 minutes into the second quarter, 28-14, they've outscored Atlanta, Arizona, and Jacksonville, Tennessee for the entire game.
Marvin Harrison here on the inside. His defender shuts off the Green Bay defender, allows Stokely to get to the outside. You make the guys pick their own men to get your receiver open.
And Stokely had another bomb go off his face mask. He'd have even more yards, but no matter. Manning to Wayne, 25 yards, setting up Manning. In the summertime, James Monroe Jerry, touchdown, 35-17 Peyton, 5 touchdown passes, 320 yards in the first half. Now, Favre says, wait a minute, here's Javon Walker, 35-24. You know, Brett wouldn't back down, 38-24. Favre, Donald Driver, 35-31. Oh, my goodness gracious, 38-31. Then, Packers ball, Favre drops back. He gets kicked in the hamstring. The tightness in the hamstring. He had to go out, but not yet. Favre completes a pass to Walker, but Jason David strips him. Nicholas Harper, who's Johnny on the spot, falls on the ball. Ensuing Colts possession. You don't expect him not to score, do you? A short blast for Edgerrin James. Brett says, I threw 4 TD passes. Peyton threw 5. The two of them combined 9 TDs, no touchdowns. 9 TDs, no interceptions. And the Colts, 45-31. Another dome loss for Brett, but I mean, they scored 30. Hey, do the Colts look any good to you?
I think that we're starting to see, and we talked about it early in the show, that separation between the top-tier team that we haven't seen New England, once in, it seems like a month. But the two top teams in this conference, you're looking at them in Indy and New England, and you look at Philly and Seattle, and you see those 4 teams that you've got to shoot at. You see those 4 teams.
Yep, and boy, Indianapolis goes to Jacksonville next week. That'll be an interesting.
And Jacksonville, oh, by the way, is undefeated.
Oh, by the way, they're 3-0. What Favre and Manning, you can watch it for the rest of your life. When we return, game balls, prime performers. There were many. We'll dissect.
Here you go, Monica.
Thank you.
It's your move.
This is so fun. I've never really played this game.
Okay, I've got Roughing the Palate on Keith, giving his date a beer with less flavor. Not cool. Replacing with genuine flavored, cold filtered, smooth Miller Genuine Draft. Oh boy. We've also got a noticeable unibrow on Keith. That's a no second date penalty. Still single. Leave.
What?
Miller. Good call.
NFL Primetime. Presented by Miller Lite. Grab yourself a great-tasting low-carb Miller Lite. And in part by Visa, proud sponsor of the NFL. Get ready for the game.
Boomer, my game ball goes to Donovan McNabb, and boy, are the Eagles on track, and he is their leader. You just start looking at the numbers. It's utterly ridiculous. 29 of 42, 356 yards, 2 touchdowns passing. His main man, T.O., right there, and 1 rushing, and they look absolutely unstoppable right now.
8 different guys. How about 5 touchdown passes in the first half? What's the matter, Peyton? You couldn't throw any in the second half? 393 yards. That shades of the game against the Chiefs in the playoffs. Like all the games he played in the playoffs just about. Peyton Manning gets my game ball. The Colts and McNabb and the Eagles, these are 2 of the teams that are really flying. So another observation. Remember, said Seahawks might get away with the division?
Seahawks 3-0.
Rest of division 1-8. Seahawks off next week. Hey, that was fun watching.
That was fun. That was a good game.
It's always fun with you, Tom. The most hated guy, voted by the former Raider opponents.
I cherish that.
Thanks for watching.